Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana here over on PulseChain. We're going to be talking about PTGC and UFO, the grays currencies. The index, I'm just getting set up for spaces here. We stream spaces live every Saturday morning and Monday evening. PTGC and UFO are an index of the best assets over on PulseChain. Everybody coming over here should hold PTGC at least, at a minimum. It's also PTGC is an index of UFO. So you hold one token and it gives you exposure to many, and it's a reward token. So just by holding PTGC, you earn rewards every single day, 24/7. You don't got to do nothing you don't need to do anything to trigger the rewards into your wallet. They just come over in a spooky alien tech sort of way. And I'm jumping into spaces. So we have an audience on X, Twitter, and an audience on YouTube. We kind of put the two together. And if you guys want to jump in and ask questions, type them in, or you can jump on the spaces. You can find a link in my Twitter. I'll post that right here. And you can come up and talk. We'd love for you to come up and talk. We love the interaction. Okay. I'm going in. Good morning.
What's up, Banana? Morning.
Yeah. It's a good morning. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get my slides to play on YouTube. So what I figured out is okay, the audience on YouTube may get a little tired of just watching me stand here or sit after we've been on for over an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, I've got all these slides with our ecosystem data on them. I'll just want to pop them up on YouTube and it can scroll through one a minute. I mean, I love looking at the slides. I mean, it might turn some people off, but they'll resonate with certain people. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I managed to get them up onto my YouTube, but they're flipping through every 5 seconds. So it's too quick. We need a little more dwell time. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Even 30 seconds would be nice, because I'm trying to think, you have how many slides now?
77. Not all of them are pure data. There's a couple that I threw in, 5 that I threw in that are just images.
Yeah, so at 77, we're at, if we did 30 seconds a pop, that's already over 30 minutes. So that would take up a lot of time.
True. And that would decrease the time to get back to number one. So if somebody misses one, they'll get a chance to review it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think. Are you planning on it covering the whole screen or part of the screen, or what are you thinking?
There's probably a bunch of ways to do it. All I want to do is I'll put them on YouTube, and then I'll have a tab open. If I'm showing something, I'll pause the video, and then once I'm done doing whatever we do on the screen, like moon math or showing the chart or whatever, then I can resume the video on YouTube.
Well, what I was hearing is it going to play, and then also are you going to be there, or are you? No. Yeah, because then maybe we don't want it, being the entire time. Maybe that's a midway through kind of thing where there's a 30-minute period where it's just the slides, instead of you. And that gives you a little bit of a break, too, from having to show your face as well.
Yeah. So the idea is just to give a little more life to the viewers on YouTube, and I think the slides I like them, dude. I like looking at that. Some of that data it just gets me excited. Like the ones that I sent to you yesterday, the new ones I created, man, those didn't look real good. I'll be honest. But you know what excites me about those is that we're going back and we're going to go beyond. We're going to make those ones that I sent you yesterday look like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're obviously showing that we've been on a little bit of a price decrease here for a few months now.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Somebody just...
Doing good. What's up, William?
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say hey to you guys as I was heading to work real quick.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for hopping in. What's new?
Nothing, man. Just gonna go do a couple hours of tattooing so I could buy some more PTGC at these awesome levels.
Nice.
And that was a great space yesterday on YouTube with Extra PulseX. He's a good friend of mine for the past 2 years. He's good people. He's someone you want on your team for sure.
Cool.
So, someone you met through crypto, or is that like an onboard, or just someone you met here?
No, we just became friends through the ecosystem about 2 years ago, and we've been talking ever since. He's a good dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's kind of interesting how crypto really brings some friends together and communities together, and it's definitely very unique, and it's probably majority just PulseChain. I haven't been involved this in depth in other communities or like other blockchains, but I think it's something really powerful about PulseChain that can bring people together from, all throughout the world.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually, 2 guys I became friends with through PTGC, they live within an hour from me. So we're all going to get together soon. It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. In real life meetups.
That sounds like fun. That would be so fun.
I'm pulling into work. I just want to say I appreciate everything you guys do, and I think our turn's coming. I'm pretty dang excited. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. As much as it hurts right now, I can't imagine being anywhere else right now.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Have a good time at work, man.
I'll be listening. Thanks, guys.
See you, William. Yeah, definitely. That's one thing about, 2 years of PulseChain pretty much being, I think, only above SAC price for a matter of a few months. Or we can even look if you want to pull up the chart. But
I do. I want to look now. I'm curious.
It wasn't above SAC price for too long, and that was a year and a half ago. So for the people who, kind of still have their main form of income that never gave that up or was pretty much dependent on making stuff off of crypto, the crypto was more of a long-term investment for them. It's been an amazing opportunity to keep DCing into great projects. If that's PTGC, UFO, PulseChain, PulseX, any of those, I still love bringing up like the PulseX one. The fact that it's a 5x from sacrifice price, and there's like $30 million of PulseX bought and burnt at this level. It's a product that's already out now, instead of, the 4 years ago, people were sacrificing 5 times higher. Product was 2 years from coming out. None of it was bought and burnt yet. You didn't know exactly what the product was. You didn't know where the community was. You didn't know the clarity with the SEC. So I just, think there's opportunity for the people who do want to take advantage of it. Also opportunities for people who want to onboard at these levels. In real life onboards, I think, are probably the best right now. And, I think PulseChain in general has been offering discounts on PTGC, UFO, and RH tickers in general. And it's kind of funny because, when you look around at other alt tokens, in general, there's winners every day. You know what I mean? You have the ones doing 100% moves here and there. But for the most part, we haven't had a significant alt season, I think, this cycle.
No.
So, Bitcoin's been doing really well. Majority just, institutions getting in there, ETFs coming out this cycle, which really helped us move up. And Ethereum at least got to its all-time high. So we have to be pretty thankful for that as well. But as far as alts, there's other chains that have done well, but a lot of the major alts of last cycle did not push to their all-time highs. Obviously, PulseChain's very far from its all-time highs. I'm not saying like we're doing any better than that. We're further down than all of them, but we have to remind ourselves that this cycle has been different, and we haven't seen a serious alt cycle or season yet to come.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen all season on PulseChain yet. I'm with you on that. So the PulseChain was above SAC from about the 15th of January to the 25th of March, 2024. So yeah, about 2 months. I came across a guy on YouTube. Somebody referred him to me. Actually, Extra PulseX. I'm pretty sure he's the one that sent me the video. This gentleman that a month ago discovered PulseChain, and he recorded a 10-minute video. I can send it to you if you want it. I dropped it in my chat this morning. He was lit up about PulseChain and the opportunity over here. Had lots of positive things to say about speculating on the asset, of course, about it having been gate kept, positive things to say about Richard Hart. And I think I'm going to reach out to him, and I'll befriend him first, try to, and then reach out and try to get on a stream with him. He has about 4,000 subs on YouTube. So I'd like to, invite his community over here to the Grays.
What chain does it seem like he's normally on, or what is he normally talking about?
Let me see if I can find him. Crypto Blaney is his name.
I think what you're talking about is a good thing to bring up, right? Like during these low periods, we talked a lot about it yesterday, taking advantage of these low periods and working on onboarding. And a lot of times I think we find a lot of our time being spent in the echo chamber of PulseChain, recommenting and re-talking to, not that it's a bad thing to build relationships with people here already, but sometimes you got to reach out of it a little bit. Reach out to users of blockchain on other chains or people in other tokens to expose them to what we believe is superior products. And then also reach out of the echo chamber in real life people that aren't even exposed to blockchain yet. The thing that I think is like the best about reaching out to in real life people, there is going to be a lot of people that don't want to get involved. There's going to be a lot of people that only get involved with a little bit. But there is people out there that are curious and want to learn about crypto, but they have no idea where to start. They don't want to go down the round path. They don't want to waste their money without the right guidance. And they're out there, you know what I mean? And they want to be exposed to a community. They want to be exposed to an asset that has life-changing potential. And I really like when you look at other blockchains that exist, other tokens that exist, I just have a hard time even finding something risk to reward that's better than PulseChain and, PTGC and UFO built on top of PulseChain. So it's kind of like, hey, the easiest place to spend my time is right there on crypto Twitter, talking with everyone that's there already. But the most productive place for me to spend my time is in real life people or people on other blockchains, in other assets.
Yeah, this gentleman looks like he really enjoys meme coins. He's on Base, Sui, BNB. He's on several different chains, but he's excited about PulseChain.
So, the interesting thing about that is the majority of people in crypto just move themselves to wherever the value is flowing around. And the value is always flowing around in different places. And it's actually a really good strategy, right? Like right now, there isn't a ton of value moving around on PulseChain. So parking yourself here kind of puts you in front of less value. So a lot of these influencers, they just go to wherever the value is moving, because it's easier to make money when money's moving, right? Just like when the economy is good, when people are spending, any business has more likelihood of making money and being successful. So if he looks at himself as a business, this is a great strategy. Also, as far as engagement, if you go to where things are thriving, people usually engage more. Just like with our spaces, Banana, when prices are moving up, there's 10 times the amount of people listening in the spaces. There's more people commenting. There's more people liking because the energy is just flowing better. So I think we always tend to forget about the large amount of influencers or content creators. Just move to wherever has most like mind share over the network. Right now, we're kind of building like, hey, we believe eventually PulseChain's time is going to come and it's going to just surpass everything else that exists.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting everything prepped early, but we're not the majority. The majority just goes to wherever the value is at that moment. You know, if BNB is having a nice run, people move to BNB. If meme coins are, you know, having a meme season on BNB, they just go there. If it's SUI, if it's base, they're just going to wherever the value is moving around, which is, again, a great strategy. It's just, you know, we have a different strategy that we think is more long-term, more sustainable, and getting prepped for where we believe most of the value will end up eventually anyways.
Yep. And by the way, guys, I am looking for these gentlemen and ladies that are coming over to PulseChain that have large followings. I put a message, I think, in our chat this morning in my chat, letting you guys know I am bringing these people to my attention because I want to follow them on X. I want to see if they have a YouTube channel. I want to befriend them, and for the grace, I want to influence them so that they will bring their audience over into PTGC. So bring any new guys over to me. You can DM them to me, or you can drop them in the chat. Just say, hey, Prairie, you know, at me, and but draw my attention to these people. I'm looking for the ones that have like 10,000 followers or more on X, and also YouTubers, because then we can string with them.
Another good one over followers is, I think, their engagement too,
Yeah.
their likes and stuff like that, because especially with influencers too, especially ones that have accounts that have been around for a long time, they might have like a decent amount of followers, but the truth is a lot of those followers have came to this space and left. So you kind of got to look at their engagement too. If all of their follower base was from last cycle, a lot of people don't realize 99% of the people who came in last cycle and was following influencers, they're long gone. You know what I mean? You have to constantly be getting a new follower base in, because the people who are willing to put like their mind share into crypto at the time, it's always changing based on their wins and losses. Especially when things get slow, they tend to leave and focus on their family more. So it's also good to just pay attention to how much engagement they're getting and how much of their engagement seems like legitimate people, not just bot accounts that follow them because they're using trending hashtags and stuff like that. Like, for an example, if I do a hashtag Ethereum over like a hashtag PulseChain, a hashtag Ethereum, I'll get like 5 comments from bots just saying like, this is awesome, or hey, let's speak privately about a promotion, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, this Razkey gentleman, it looks like he gets pretty good engagement. I mean, I don't know how to tell whether it's genuine engagement or not, but he gets a lot of impressions on his Twitter posts. You know, like,
yeah, he's a great example, right? Like, he either, like, I've seen people accuse him of being paid to talk about PulseChain, which frankly, it doesn't matter to me if he was paid or he genuinely came over here. He obviously is getting natural engagement, we hope, from his own community as well. I don't know where his own community comes from and his follower base comes from, but he's definitely getting a lot of engagement from the PulseChain community. I messaged you yesterday. Like, I think it would be good for our community once a day to kind of pick an account somewhat like this, like a new person coming into PulseChain that looks like they have an outside follower base of some sort. It could be from last cycle or, but someone who's getting a lot of engagement, who is kind of getting pushed by the algorithm at the time. This guy you're talking about is obviously being pushed by the algorithm because all of our community, just the PulseChain community, is engaging with them right now. And maybe we make it like, the raid of the day, like something, hey guys, this is kind of a post that we think we can get someone's attention on. It fits us. This is going to be our raid of a day. If at some point today you can make a thoughtful comment on this, and then like some of the other PTGC comments on this post to really put the PTGC name in front of everyone who looks at that, I think that would be a good use of our time. And just by making it one a day, I feel like there's a lot of people who don't like comment or like because it's overwhelming with how many things are out there. But if we kind of just put it to just one, like, hey, we want you to do 20, but if you are going to just do one, this is the one we're focusing on today. I put a comment on that guy's thing. I think you threw it into our Telegram and said, hey, say something to this guy. Let him know that our community is strong. I wrote a comment in there and, luckily my comment got like 77 likes. And then he commented back saying like, ooh, I need to look into PTGC, right? And he could just be doing a comment to my comment because that helps the algorithm. But we're starting to get these new people coming in and its attention. And there are genuine ones that are coming in. Tiger Crypto God at one point, 6 months ago, was this person. He heard about PulseChain, he came in, and now he's a holder of PTGC because our community was strong in his comments. He noticed right off the bat that our community was one of the largest and had one of the best products on chain.
Yep. I'm commenting on one of his, on Raxi's posts right now. So I invited him to our spaces. So he might jump in at some point.
Yeah, I think some of them probably don't like use their voice.
Yeah.
Some of them probably don't even do YouTube, but definitely worth the offer. But I would say a large percentage of them just kind of just talk behind the PFP. But I definitely think it's worth putting that offer out there. See if they hop in. One time, I think William or someone invited Tiger Crypto God. I think it was William, and then he popped, and then he really liked the product, and that's that would make the steps in the right direction.
He liked the founder too. He's a good judge of character. That Tiger Crypto God. He spotted you right away, man.
Yeah, it's really just the product, though, right? Like,
yeah.
I can talk about the product decently well. So I feel like when either me, you, Mando, when any of us talk about the product, it really stands out against a lot of the other things within crypto.
Sure.
I truly believe once you understand the product, it becomes a situation where you're like, wow, if PulseChain is successful, I literally just have to like DCA into PTGC and UFO, and I'm probably going to be financially free. I'm going to be holding a hyper deflationary asset that just pays me APY for the rest of the existence of this chain. So I'm not so much betting on PTGC and UFO success because mechanically it's kind of proven itself off of the movements of PulseChain. I'm now just betting on PulseChain success, and my goal now needs to just be like getting as much percentage share of the supply as possible of these two assets.
Yeah. That's where all of us are, trying to get as much supply as possible.
And the dips are the best time to do it, but also the hardest time, right? We've seen when green candles start to happen, that's when people kind of are like, oh, darn, the supply's getting away from me, the price is getting away from me, like I need to get my hands on this. But then, there's always the exhale to every inhale. And when that exhale happens, that's usually the best time to DCA or to onboard someone you also think could be benefit from, a good product on an undervalued blockchain, but that's also the hardest time as well.
Yes. You got to get over in crypto. Sometimes you got to get over the emotions. You got to be willing to buy when your brain is saying, well, your emotion, your heart is saying no, but the chart is saying yes.
I think it's on the product, right? Like you have to understand that most products do never come back. Most of them upon launch make their initial run up, initial hype, and then the people who are pushing it from early days who probably got in early take their profits and they move on to the next, and they never come back. And that's the game, sadly, that most people play in crypto, especially where it's evolved in the last, I think, half a decade. People constantly just want to rotate to the next thing because of the fact that 99% of things or 99.9% of things fail. But it also takes up tons of their time. It takes up their mind share from their family and friends. It takes away from them actually enjoying their in real life. And Richard kind of was making a post about it. I don't know if he was talking about gambling as far as meme coin gambling, or if he was talking about legitimate gambling, but he kind of made a post about that recently too. We could jump into. I need to reread it, but if I remember correctly, he just says that it usually hurts people eventually. Like, yeah, they might win some, but they can possibly lose their whole balance if that's just normal gambling, or I consider like degenning without education or proper information. If you're smart about degenning, I think it's fine, studying the product, looking what has good product market fit, not just throwing money at everything that comes out. You usually nuke your account, but really what's been a winner is just finding the right products, which there are very, very few, but instead spend that time looking for those right products. Just DCA into those right products.
Yep. I will pull up Richard Hart's Twitter and we can review that.
Yeah, I think he did 2 tweets last night that I was looking at this morning.
I heard about him. I just haven't looked yet. Okay. And don't let us hog the show, guys. If you guys want to jump up and say anything, by all means do. All right, let me find Richard Hart here. Apparently, I haven't looked him up in a while. Okay. 4 hours ago, he said, if you support projects like crypto natives, the price pumps hardest because they keep all their gains in crypto. If you support projects by crypto tourists, familiar with those, aren't we? They nuke you, sell, and sail away, leaving a permanent dent on the price chart. The oppressed are the reasons the prices are as high as they are. Crypto loves no one more than the oppressed. Those who are shunned by the financial system are forced to hold their wealth in crypto, while those that banks love can dump their crypto for fiat anytime they like. And those that were forced to hold Bitcoin or Ethereum, they've reaped the maddest of gains. Support those that are here to stay, not the nuke and leave scum.
Yeah, I find that tweet very interesting. I find it interesting in 2 reasons. I think he's, for one, bringing up the fact that, there's projects on his chain specifically where, people who are making money off those projects are specifically just taking that value off chain. They don't care if the price is up or down. They're just keep taking the value off chain, which really isn't good for them. If price does start to move up, it just shows that they don't really believe in it long term. But for the people who do believe in it long term, they tend to keep their value on chain. You know what I mean? And I was kind of even bringing up, I talked about like founders of protocols or really just like people within a protocol. I think you need both. You need people who are full-time crypto because they're active and they're grinding at it and they understand the industry very, very well. But having a large community of crypto investors, people who actually are earning value outside of crypto and bringing they believe in crypto as an actual investment, as a store of value long term, is so important, right? If you have an entire community built on people who just take from crypto, just constantly take, and it's just a job to them, not an investment to them, well, where do you think they're getting paid from? They're getting paid from selling that asset that you are investing in to then go leave. You know what I mean? To go pay bills. For, specifically, this kind of relates to our in real life marketing strategy. Why we think like really going after in real life people can make a difference for PTGC specifically is look at in real life onboarding. Anyone you're onboarding in real life has an income in real life. They're not dependent on the gains they make in crypto to pay their bills. So they usually can be stronger holders and they can actually let the investment grow. And they usually know other people in the same boat because they're not dependent on those gains. But within crypto, within like onboarding people who are full-time crypto, their whole business is getting in and getting out and making profits and turning those profits to fiat to then pay their bills or hop into the next token or community. I find PTGC very unique in that way because we can onboard people in real life because the product's that strong. And I think we've already onboarded. If you look at our community, if you talk to our community, you can go to Banana, you can go to me, you can go to William, you can go to Mando. And if you ask them, the people who've spent a lot of time here, they've actually onboarded already in real life people. So those in real life people already exist within our community. And these people work their jobs. Their bills are paid. The success of the project isn't a necessary. It's more of a bonus. You know what I mean? But in a lot of other crypto tokens, I would say the majority of them, this is why the majority of them fail. The money that's in that asset doesn't actually get to stay there, right? It's there temporary for them to make money. And if that money doesn't turn into more money very, very quickly, they're on to the next, or even if it goes out, they need to take profits off that to pay their bills that month. Because a lot of them don't have a form of income outside of crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So by focusing on in real life people, we're bringing in people who actually have their bills paid for. And with having their bills paid for and actually having good careers in real life, they don't have not only their own network of people with the success of their crypto portfolio, they're going to tell them, right? So onboarding can grow, but also they can DCA. If dips come up, they have more value to put in. They want to take advantage of discounts. As prices go up, they probably DCA as well because they're constantly generating more revenue and they're using these crypto assets not as a quick flip or not as a way to, make a quick buck and move on to the next, but as an actual investment, as a long-term hold, as, an in real life person, I think actually is more likely to be a lifelong community member of an asset over an already crypto person hopping around to always the next thing.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Let me make a comment on it. On the post, I actually did write a post on this, but the post that he did, it brings up a couple questions, and the first question that I noticed is, at the end when he says support those that are here to stay, right? Well, the statement begs a question. Okay, well, how do I know? How can I determine? How can I spot? How can I recognize those things that are here to stay? Right? As opposed to those things that are just, what he calls the nuke, bounce and leave scum. So there's the question: how can we spot what those protocols are that are here to stay, and what are the characteristics of those things, right? So I just wrote a quick little overview, not an overview, but just a quick response to this. And this is what I thought. This is what I put out there. It says, it's interesting when you read this in context, it leaves you asking yourself a question: how can we know who the here to stay, in quotes, projects are that he says should be supported? I'll tell you. One, it has a great founder that is respected, doesn't stop working, and is benevolent toward his community. Two, immutable and unchangeable code. This is the Richard Hart way, obviously, that he's taught everybody. The protocol has a design and execution is defined. Self-custody is built into the code base, and it's you and the code. 3, bonds with the blockchain core assets and LPs and burns the LP tokens, but not just with a small, insignificant amount of capital, with millions of dollars worth of assets. 4, supports the chain even when the chain isn't supporting the project. It doesn't get more benevolent than helping or supporting or working with a project or a person or a company when what they're doing isn't necessarily helping you. 5, has performed well and provided strong gains for long-term holders on PulseChain, even in a very unfavorable environment, over a long period of time. Years matters. And 6, has the recognition on chain as respected protocol by the community. And then I go on to just say, I'll give you one, and it's obviously the Grace currency. So when Richard says there are things that we ought to be supporting that aren't necessarily his things, it begs the question, okay, well, how do we find what those things are? And I think that it's just such a no-brainer at this point to point out and shine a light on the Grace ecosystem as one of the biggest buyers of the core assets through this entire process, just going down, constantly buying the assets, constantly bonding in liquidity. What does that mean? That means that we're not taking the stuff off chain, like you said. We're literally taking the revenue that the system is using, is earning, and buying the core assets and bonding with them and throwing away the key. It doesn't get any more support those that are here to stay than that, right? So I think that the Grace needs to be recognized as basically the number one protocol on chain that's built and designed very similarly to Hex and is doing exactly what Richard is saying a protocol should be doing to get that kind of recognition.
Yeah, I think that's worth bringing up, the fact that the PTGC system has been designed to where 100% of the revenue actually stays on chain. If you look at large protocols on other blockchains, this is very rare, right? There's usually some part of the code or the project that involves giving the business or the founder or the, some entity within that protocol the value, and a lot of that value normally leaves. The easiest one to say is pump.fun. To even be part of pump.fun, you don't even really need the gas token because all of the liquidity pairs are with stable coins, not even SOL, which does not help the price of SOL. That actually hurts the price of SOL. All they need the SOL for is gas, but they don't even need the SOL to buy the product. And then all the revenue that gets generated goes to the dev of it, and that dev just bridges most of that value out. He doesn't even actually store his value on chain whatsoever. So as far as Richard's products go, PulseX, pretty much all the value stays on chain. It either goes to the people providing the liquidity or it goes to buying and burning PulseX itself. If you look at pump.fun or pump.tires, you have to have PLS to even participate, and the value that gets generated actually is used to increase the value of the chain as well, with a lot of that being in V1 liquidity with PulseX, the fact that you have to use PLS and the initials get burnt in these like dead liquidity pools. It's very self-sustaining and good for the overall long-term growth of the protocol. And I think as it grows, and like you said, it is very unique that 100% of the revenue actually stays on chain. If that's us buying and burning PTGC, which the only way we can buy and burn PTGC is by putting PLS into a liquidity pool, not extracting it from the chain, literally putting that in a liquidity pool and then burning the PTGC tokens. None of that value leaves the chain whatsoever in that event. Or buying Hex or PulseX or Pulse and adding LP and burning those LP, even adding an LP with PLS via every transaction with the code. And then even when we pay our rewards, all the rewards are paid out in PulseChain assets as well. Now, of course, an individual community member can make the decision to take profits off chain.
That's in anything. This is any
protocol. This is any protocol. There's no way around that. But as far as the code base of the overall product, everything stays on chain.
But not only that, Zen, there's two other categories of thinking here too, where how many times have we been asked and approached by so many people, oh, we should take some of the PulseChain and we should go off chain and launch another protocol, another chain, and then bring it back over the bridge. And, so you get all these pitches to go do all this off-chain, take value off-chain to make more value off-chain to bring it back on-chain bullshit. And I'm not saying it's bullshit.
And some of the pitches, just to be real, isn't just about bringing it. Well, it's not about bringing the value back on chain. They're just saying, hey, bring this product to another chain and let's do it over there too.
Right, and then there's the category, kind of like the cult DAO category, where they're sincerely trying to make money, right? But it's like they're investing in all these things on all these chains, and it just never works out because 99% of this shit is just trash, right? So there's never been in over 2 years with the Grays, once the protocol got established, there's never been this lack of like people coming at us constantly because they see how much revenue that the protocol generates to try to get at our revenue, to extract our revenue. It's never happened. We don't chase the carrots everywhere. And that's another thing that Richard talks about. Not that, you can't chase carrots to make money. That's fine. But when everybody that's chasing the carrots makes money and all they do is extract everything off the chain as opposed to putting it back into the cores, bonding an LP, or creating something cool on chain to bring people to the chain, big difference.
Well, I think that's a good point of the difference between, a crypto native or a crypto tourist. I think a better example of that would be a blockchain native or a blockchain tourist, right? You're going to have projects, especially when PulseChain starts cooking, where there's going to be people that come in as a tourist and launch protocols to get at value. Because when value starts flowing around here, it's going to be very attractive to builders. But that doesn't mean that builder is actually going to keep the value that they make off of their protocol on chain. The majority of them are actually just going to take that value onto their preferred chain, or for the most part, it usually just goes into fiat. So that's another thing I think worth paying attention to is look at the protocols whose lead community, like the people who are active in it and contributing into it and who want to see the protocol win. Look at who they are. Are they people who have been on PulseChain since the day it launched? Or are they people that kind of hop in and hop out and just kind of go wherever is like accepting them at the moment? Like, oh, I'm going to hop over this chain. Oh, I'll hop back here for a day or two. Oh, I'm going to hop over this chain. This chain just came out. Oh, I'm going to hop back over here for it too. Because a lot of those ones, the value is going to leave the chain if you give it to them. I feel confident in a lot of our community that the community of PTGC call PulseChain their long-term home.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, man. Like, we've got the king of multi-chain in the chat right now, and one of the biggest, best promoters of crypto, and one of the biggest, best promoters of PulseChain and the PTGC ecosystem with the Mooncake. And there's a difference between being multi-chain and going to all these other chains and doing, and as an individual user. But what Richard is talking about are the protocols on PulseChain. What should we be recognizing as something that's recognizable on PulseChain that should be supported on PulseChain? That's a legitimate protocol. It's not so much individual user activity as much as it is, guys, only support the things on PulseChain that aren't hurting your own investment, which is the underlying cores to a degree. I would say especially now, before a major run up. Like, once there's a 50x run up, or a 30, 40, 50x run up, and the LPs are bigger and there's more activity, it really doesn't matter. But if you're just extractor guy launching all these protocols, you can see the same people just do it once and it's gone. It's gone. Those are really the things that he's focusing on, I believe, in that monologue there.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of getting at, is you can relate that back. Like, a protocol, for the most part, doesn't launch itself. There's a person who's launching that code base, or a team of people who are launching those code base, and it's important to pay attention to those actions. Not talking so much about the individual who has been like strived of gains over here on PulseChain and goes somewhere else to contribute, in other chains. I'm more talking about people who are building protocols, but then you also see constantly pivoting to other protocols. And I think it's important to also be able to pivot, but it's also important to have actual conviction in things as well.
Prairie, what's up? What you got?
I'm just chilling over here, playing some slides on my YouTube. We're going to do a stream next Friday about the updated data from October. So I'm going to be working on those slides this week. That's what's up. I'll be working on those Monday and Tuesday. It takes a number of hours to get them all updated, but it's pretty sweet, man. I like just getting the data off my spreadsheets, man. I plug them into them slides and I'm like, what? That happened? Really?
Hey, give me the data now then. Where are we at in terms of the Treasury combined everything? Because I saw a slide, I think, a few days ago, but do you guys know?
It's like 10.3, I think.
10.3?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a data point I don't have yet, dude.
You have it now.
Yeah, I'm going to add it. I have the address too. I scraped the address off of Telegram last week. So I'll add that to the mix, man. Thanks for the idea. No, there was an interesting data point that I told you about, Zen, yesterday. Let me see if I can, maybe you can recall it. I think it was that the daily volume for UFO increased from September to October, whereas the daily volume for PTGC decreased. And I was a little shocked at that. Does that sound correct, Zen? From what I told?
That's what you told me.
Okay.
I think the human volume behind PTGC decreased a little bit just from all the prices coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And then UFOs obviously, I think, increased because UFOs volume was kind of on a really low level already. And in the last month, we've had some decent shifts mechanically for UFO. There was like a shift as far as a few of the LP pools within UFO that UFO really benefited off of as far as volume wise, to where PTGC had some good user volume the previous month that UFO didn't have, if that makes sense. So UFO kind of started at a very low starting point to where it was kind of easy to hit that higher volume level, to where PTGC had a somewhat decent month to the month previous, So as things kind of came down on PulseChain because they've been going down, it brought the volume down as well.
Nice. Well, not nice, but
No, it's nice that we saw an increase in volume on UFO.
dude, did you guys see B-Roots' son freaking going after it, like running like a 4-1-40 after that candy on the video?
No, on his Twitter.
Yeah, dude. He was like in some Green Goblin outfit, just going after it. Just
But was he Shrek?
I don't know what he was, dude. But it looked like he was running like a Carl Lewis, bro, trying to get to the next house.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, oh, did B-Roots dress this kid up as an alien? And I was like, oh, no, I think it's Shrek.
Shrek. Anyway, we don't have to always talk about crypto. I'm just playing.
I was a pirate yesterday.
Yeah, I was just myself. That's scary enough.
Yeah, me too. Scary enough. Yeah.
My son was Peter Pan. My daughter was Tinkerbell. My wife was Wendy, and I was a poor version of Captain Hook. So it was more.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yo, I also saw William. William full ported his head, dude, in the sickest tat you'd ever seen. It's just a sick, basically Jesus Christ mural on his head. Just went all. I mean, his whole head went tatted.
You mean the William that was in our spaces earlier?
Yeah, he's in here right now.
Okay. Yeah, listening.
Yeah, that
okay.
man is super, loves the Lord, just a super high level, talented tattoo artist. If you ever want to fly in somewhere and get a tat done, you're going to get top-notch art for William Duggan. That guy is off the chain.
Oh, cool.
That's where Banana has to get his PTGC tattoo when we hit 1 billion. Was that?
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about it at some point, hitting William up to redo my current tattoo, because I've got a mural of Revelation chapter 5 on my right arm. I want to freshen up, but yeah, he full ported his head. I think he still has a full head of hair. Underneath that hair is going to be this mural. Very interesting. Anyway, back to the grace.
Yeah, I don't see it on his feed. Is it a little bit down, Mando?
It's got to be a little bit down, because he did share it the other day. But let me see if I can find it.
Oh no, I think he may be. Is that him, or did he do that on someone?
I mean, I thought it was him that did it, but William, if you did it, dude, come up and post that thing. I can't. I could have sworn it was him, but
no, I think he did it on someone. It looks.
Oh,
like.
did he? Oh, well,
which is
whatever
also
it was,
still cool.
bro, it was sick. Yeah, I mean, the art is just off the chain coming out of that studio there. When you're trying to get a tat and you're just like Mr. Guest Guy and you don't have a clue what you're doing, it's kind of good to kind of know a guy, So, plug.
Oh, it actually
William.
might be him. No, I actually think it's him.
You guys hear me?
Right.
Yeah, what's up, Will? That was you, right? Oh no, that's a different person. Is that you, Will?
I'm tattooing right now, but I had to step away and jump in for a sec. That's my head.
Yeah, man. So you got a full head of hair though, still, right? I mean, you're not bald, right? Like you shaved your head to tattoo your head, right? Maybe we're not crossing.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't hear you, but I see it now. Yeah, I think he shaved his head to get that tattoo, and it does look like him. So I think you're right there, Mando.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty sick. See if I can post it later, but yeah, it's pretty dope. Had to plug that, man. We got some cool cats up in the Grace Currency, man. All over the place. Trevor out there where he's at, Mr. Music Man.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Will?
Sorry. Yeah, that's my head, man, and I got a full head of hair.
So you just full ported your hair off, and then just basically, what is the mural like? What in its fullness? Like, what is it? Is it just all Jesus, or what is it?
Yeah, just Christ-centered religious pieces, angels, Christ on the top, cross on the back, praying hands on the neck, a rose on the right side.
Well, there's no denying your faith, man. So, you know, when they come after you, you're going to be like, oh, just lopped my head off. It was ready to go anyway.
If it comes to that, man, I pray that I'm brave enough to do so. All glory to
Oh, you are, brother. You know that. but no, that I just wanted to just tell everybody, you know, if you're looking for top tier tattoo artistry, yeah, look up Will, follow him, fly in. It's, you know, put stuff on your body. It's worth spending a couple extra bucks to get to a good artist. The guy's just killing it over there.
I appreciate you, brother. When PTGC hits a penny, everyone's getting free alien tattoos.
Nice, bro. And you know what? Prairie Banana is going to be the very first one who gets that tattooed on his ass. He's getting. Oh wait, it's the sleeves, right? Isn't it the sleeves, Prairie?
Well, butt tattoo will cost you, Prairie.
I think Prairie said he's going to get a sleeve, didn't he? Gets a penny.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm looking at that tattoo right now on your head, William. Whoa. I mean, wow. It's your whole head, man.
Because I was bald all summer.
Yeah, but
wow.
the quality of work, man, is just awesome.
Hey, man, all glory to God.
Amen. Just wanted to plug you on that.
No, I appreciate you, man. I'm going to get back to my piece so I could DCA more today. But I appreciate you guys, and I'm excited for the future.
Yep. Good luck on the guy you're working on, man. Talk to you later. That's what I mean. We got great in real life peeps out there doing their thing.
Yeah, if you get tattooed by William, he sometimes takes his tips into PTGC.
100%.
Oh,
I'm not joking.
Thanks for the follow, brother. That's pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah, Moon King, he don't do tats, man. But if he does, I don't normally. It's like the Dos Equis commercial. I don't do tats, but if I do William Duggan.
You're telling me the big Shiba Inu on B-Roots' back that he advertises isn't real?
Oh, he's got a big ship on his back. Big ship. And when you make $1 billion in a coin, you're kind of obligated to, you know. That's gonna be PTGC holders.
I was going to say that's what we have to have Banana show B-Roots up with. B-Roots can have the big ship on his back, and we'll get a big Grays logo on the back of Banana.
Banana's gonna have the UFO alien sleeve just fly.
No, man, I'll wear the logos on my shirt because I can take the shirt off. I can replace the shirt, you know. Once you get something permanent on you, woo. If you decide you don't like it, there's not much you can do about it.
Dribble it out, and you have a black square.
That is an option. Yeah. I tell you what, man, it's quiet over on PulseChain. Do we got any green today? Let's see what we got. I think I saw a little, yeah, it's a little green just on the 1 hour though, like slightly. Bitcoin's at 110,000. Ethereum is under 4 at like 3,900. Pulse is at, it's under 3 right now, 29.96.
I heard some TA guys saying that we wanted to be above 108 when we flipped into the new month, which I think we were. So I guess that's good news.
Or did we already go? Somebody told me we got to be at 108.3 to close. We got to close the week at 108.3. And
I thought it was month.
Did you hear that from me?
I don't know who I heard it from, to be honest with you.
Okay. If it was me, I'm very sure it was the weekly. So we're at 109.9, and we and the weekly will roll over, I think, tomorrow evening, US, late afternoon. Does that sound right? New week on Sunday.
Okay.
So somebody's going to have to go buy some Bitcoin so we can close above 108.3.
We have one more RH tweet that I think's, maybe worth going over since we're here, Banana.
Okay. And there was one right at the same time frame, like right prior to that. Gambling.
Yeah.
Gambling, he says, is everywhere. And it's the worst performing financial decision people ever make. Cryptocurrency is the best performing asset class in history. We're not the same. Yeah, man. I was accused of gambling when I first got into crypto. Like, it's just speculation. Yeah, it's speculation, but it's deliberate. It's deliberate, thoughtful. How do you put it? It is speculation, but it's not. I don't look at it as gambling. No.
I think there's gambling within crypto. There's a bunch of different ways you can go about being in crypto. I think a lot of the pumped up fun gaming, or not gaming, I look at that as gambling. But if you're willing to spend some time and do some quality research and find legitimate protocols that you believe are long-term, I think that's more of investing, in my opinion. That was my thing, when I got into crypto. I came here to invest, not necessarily gamble. And I found a lot of the space is gambling. Quick, 4-day charts, get in, get out, get in, get out, which is fine. People who have edge and are good, this is just like gambling. It's kind of like if you went into the casino, and let's say you're at a table playing poker. If you're playing against a good poker player, the odds are more in his favor over you, who's a newbie, don't know what you're doing, right? It's very similar with meme coins, in my opinion. If you're playing against experienced people, you usually are going to lose to them. They have an edge over you. You could be just doing it for fun or just doing it to get lucky, but there is people who have an edge. But I still consider that gambling. But if you're willing to kind of find long-term plays that you have conviction in, that you're willing to be in for years, that you kind of ride and die for, I believe those are more investments.
There you go.
All speculative.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You come up to tell us about
What's up, Shaka?
Yeah.
Yeah, my tattoo? No, I think I'll pass, man. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share a little story. A couple weeks ago, we started talking about the no coiners, and each of us have kind of on-ramped any crypto people that we knew already. And I did have some no coiners in the very beginning, but we kind of forgot about them, and we've been just preaching to PulseChain people for growth. And we kind of were brainstorming, so let's set up some no coiners, and I did, and I had a guy that does some work for me at the house, and he had come over, and I had kind of talked to him about it, and found out he kind of likes sports gambling and kind of plays with some of that stuff, but was also been hearing a lot about crypto. And he got in, and we shared some of that with some people in here, and he came in with his brother, and I gave him kind of the walkthrough, held their hand, got him some. We kind of had to do an OTC for the ETH because his Coinbase was going to take some time, so I just got him some ETH that way. And he bought $5,000 worth, 2,500 of PTGC, 2,500 of UFO, and was pretty pumped because we got a little bit of a green after that. So he's pretty excited. He did get his Coinbase all set up, got it funded. He's back over at my house on Thursday. He comes every Thursday, and brought his laptop with him. And this time he did all the driving, and I just kind of looked over his shoulder, and he added $2,000 more. 1,000 of PTGC, 1,000 of UFO. And he is a long-term mindset. He doesn't have Twitter. He doesn't have Telegram. He really was a no coiner, like as true as a no coiner could be. I mean, no Bitcoin, no ETH, no anything. All he has now is a link I put on his laptop so he could go to Pulsefolio to check his wallet, just so for fun, see where he's at. But he's in it for the yield. He's in it for, its future paying him. Now, it doesn't mean he won't sell, or if he gets a bunch of X's, who knows? But that's kind of his mindset. And I woke up to a text this morning that he texted me last night. I was already in bed, asking if I could help his brother-in-law, his sister's brother, her stepbrother. But regardless, he's a no-coiner. So I said, sure, of course. You're welcome to come over this weekend if you want. So he's coming over today with his brother-in-law, so I can kind of show him how to kind of get in it. And I feel like this red today sucks, right? But this is when I feel the best about onboarding, because I kind of feel, because I do have a number of onboards that are down and substantially. And those ones hurt. I feel confident. It's very confident it's coming back. So it's like, not too bad. But when I can get guys in down here, the risk goes away, in my opinion. It's just so much easier to onboard because they have such a higher chance of success. And this just shows the no coiners. Then they talk to no coiners, and that's kind of what we've been talking about 2 weeks ago, that if we could all just get a few $1,000s a piece and kind of put to work, and remember, if we own tokens, we own part of this company. We are shareholders in this company. That's exactly what it is. Like, we got to pitch in and do some work too, and every little bit helps. And then here's one growing into another. And like I said, he already DCA'd himself too. He's wants to get to 10 grand himself. He kind of joked that he needs to get it done before Thanksgiving time, because that's usually when his wife puts the grips on the cash because of Christmas and everything like that. Now I have no idea how much the brother-in-law is coming in with. Is it 1,000? Is it a 5? What is it? But whatever it is, it's another person. It's another wallet. It's another holder. So I just wanted to share that, because it's not hard. You just have to be willing to do it. Have to be willing to hold their hand a little bit. And what worked for me was not even in bringing him into Telegrams, Twitters, nothing. Just told him about the protocols, why I am in them, and that I could help them get in them as well. And so far, I'm pleasantly pleased.
Well, you bring up a good point.
Have a good.
You bring up a good point, Shaka, about in a when you own securities, right? Like when you're talking about like owning stock or whatever, right? I mean, you don't have to do anything because you're expecting profit from the work of others, right? You're investing in something and you know that there's other people working to make your ticker go up in value. But in crypto, there isn't anybody else but the community that works to make your ticker go up in value, And
Absolutely.
That's why it's not a security, because there's nobody that's going to make your ticker go up but you. And the people that are your brothers and sisters that are in the thing, you know, whether it's a meme or something that's very, very serious, more serious like this, I do think, however, though, Shaka, being a little bit forward looking, that imagine what it looks like with just a nominal turnaround of the chain, and that believability comes back, and we see Gray sitting at 150, 200 million market cap and 300, whatever it is, and Pulse is now going over its SAC rate and it's going up. Now you're talking about, you're very happy that you involved these individuals down here, because this literally is the moment of, you know, you're buying when blood's everywhere kind of a thing, right? That's when they say you're supposed to buy. But it's true.
Yeah, that feeling you can get when you help somebody is more powerful than even making money yourself. I could tell you that. You know, if here's a guy who's got a small landscape business, you know, he has one dump truck, probably 3 pickup trucks, you know, small crew. This guy's busted his ass to get to where he's at now. I mean, he literally started just mowing lawns. You know, and say, and we think this is super low, but say he just gets a 10x on his 10 grand and he makes 100 grand in the next year off of this. That is powerful. That is life change. That lets him take his business to a whole nother level if that's what he decides to do. That's what lets him get out of debt. That's, I mean, you know, if you can help some people get in here and they win, I promise you one thing, the feeling from helping others, absolutely. It's an amazing feeling. And this is your chance to be able to help people and get that feeling of, wow, I got this person in and I helped change their life. It's powerful.
Yeah, and in general, you know, that happens with someone and they tend to tell other people about it.
Yeah, this guy's basically even or a little down probably this morning, and he's telling other people, you know, just because he gets it now. He understands what's there. He understands. He sees crypto on the news every single day and had no idea how to even get in or where to start. Now he feels like, hey, I'm in crypto. You know, he's pumped.
One thing I want to bring up on this, Shaka, is your one onboard has already onboarded 2 people, which is technically you onboarding 3 people. But the compounding effect of these in real life onboards is massive compared to crypto onboards, especially the no coiners, because these no coiners know people in real life that also want to be exposed to the same experience. You know, even if it's with somewhat little amounts, you know, the potential of PulseChain, like you said, if he DCAs 10K in, you know, if PulseChain just 10Xs, that's 100K. That is life changing to people, you know, turning 10K into 100K. And we were talking about yesterday, if our community before PulseChain runs is able to bring in $5 million, and that's 1,000 people bringing in, you know, $5,000 each. You're already over that. I think you said you've gotten in 7,000 since we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but now it sounds like they're even DCAing more and they're telling people, which is just awesome. You'll probably do well over what we're seeing that the average could be. But if our community brought in $5 million, this doesn't include sell pressure, $5 million with PulseChain at these levels, that's a 10x against PulseChain. That puts PTGC at a 500 million market cap before PulseChain even goes. If you then factor in PulseChain just doing a 10x, that user that you brought in at this level could be up 100x on that $10,000. That's $10,000 into $1 million. And then if this onboard is truly a long-term holder, let's say he's in it for the passive income, that's passive income on $1 million that he only invested 10,000 in. Even the 5% APY is $50,000 a year in passive income, and he never even needs to sell his initial. So even if the protocol is only doing, let's say, 2x a year after that 100x, or that turns $1 million into $2 million. That turns his APY from 50,000 into 100,000. That turns 2 million into 4 million. Now his $100,000 APY turns into $200,000 APY, and it compounds as time goes on because he's holding a deflationary asset. Obviously, this is very forward-looking, but I do believe that PTGC and UFO have the potential to be this type of product for the people who are willing to stay in long-term. And these no-coiners are willing, right? They believe in it long-term because they don't have the next product to hop and gamble into. All they know is PTGC and UFO at this point.
Yep.
And I just do think it's cool that, right off the bat, we're talking about how no coiners, no other no coiners, and it'll create a compounding effect unlike most cryptos that exist. Like, what I've noticed is that the assets that kind of do the best, that have their own like sub communities, that their community base is a lot of in real life people. Right? Bitcoin was technically built off of in real life people that turned into, crypto maxis. But the onboarding of in real life people, the example you just gave, works so well. Your one onboard has already onboarded 2 people.
Yeah, I think the reality is when people get into crypto, they get married to whatever they started with. If they happen to be brought into XRP because that's what their friend was into, and they've been in that. Next thing you know, they're just XRP maxis. No different than kind of what.
That's the one that always comes to mind to me when I talk about in real life onboards. I have met so many in real life people that are no coiners that for some reason hold XRP.
Yeah, and they're hard to convert. And no different than a lot of them. The meme guys kind of float around to whatever chain's hot. So forth, but in terms of no coiners, they get in somewhere and that's what they stick with. It's kind of what happened to each of us. Let's be real. We got into RH and X, and this is where we play, and this is where we stay for most part. So we could go bring in fresh, unbiased, like new people, just like we were at some point. Everyone on this call was a no coiner. Every single one of us was a no coiner, and something brought us in. It's the lowest hanging fruit in business. That's what you look for. You look for the lowest hanging fruit first. You try to grab all of that. Then you go to the next level, the next level, the next level. The lowest hanging fruit right now in crypto are no coiners.
Yeah, 100%. And I think your example just proves that those no coiners are willing and do know more no coiners. And if you get one in, they usually tell a couple more. So very quick, your one onboard in real life could turn into 4 onboards. Even if that first person only has $1,000, we have that goal of $5,000 a piece. That one person can just onboard 4 others at 1,000. Now you're at your 5,000.
It goes quick.
Any comments on YouTube, Banana?
Just one comment that somebody's excited to see Extra Pulse X start streaming and being active on YouTube. And I'm excited about that too. We need some more, people that are going to be shilling the Gray's currencies on YouTube. That's where a lot of people come in. One-on-one, like bringing our friends in is one route that people will come into crypto, but YouTube is probably, as far as a social, I think YouTube is probably number 1 for reaching no coiners.
I couldn't agree more. I think if someone wants to educate themselves on crypto at no coiner, YouTube is the place they're going to go to get that education. So the larger
community we can have on YouTube, I'd say is going to be great for no coiners or brand new people to crypto as well.
That's where I went when I came into crypto. I learned about crypto from it was a podcast that I was listening to, and I immediately went over to YouTube and started learning there.
I spent probably a year on YouTube learning crypto before I even made my way to Twitter.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't on Twitter for quite a while. Here's a question. JV Miner asks, does the PTGC treasury ever go into buying and burning PTGC, or is it strictly for LP bonding? It's for both. The treasury can do both.
The treasury does do both. The treasury's bought and burnt. What would you say, Zen, now? 50-50? It's probably close to 50-50.
Yeah, I would say close to 50-50. In the last year, I know the Treasury, I think, has spent over $1 million on PTGC. So we've, with just the DAO management wallet in general, I looked at those purchases on Dex Screener the other day, and it was like $1 million of PTGC bought specifically from that wallet. But like we said, half of that is probably LP ads. The other half is buy and burns.
But just remember, when we're doing LP ads, when the protocol is doing LP ads, it also has to buy PTGC because it has to have the PTGC to pair it with the asset like Hex or Pulse or PulseX or whatever on the other side of the pair. So regardless if you're doing buy and burns, that's 100% of the protocol revenue going to buy the token up, raise the price floor, and get those miners out of there, get those tokens gone forever. If we're adding LP, you still are taking, let's say you have $100,000 for an LP ad, you're still taking $50,000 buying PTGC and then taking $50,000 and buying Pulse and then pairing them and then burning the LP token. So either way, there's a large amount of PTGC being purchased and either burned into the LP or removed from supply forever.
Yeah, I feel like that's a part that a lot of people overlook, man. Like even every single transaction adds to the PLS pair within the code of PTGC. And 100% of PTGC supply is in circulation. There's not a wallet that owns PTGC that we can pull from to add LP with, or even when the code is adding LP, it's not like the code can mint PTGC and then bond it in LP or anything like that. Whenever LP gets added with the PTGC system, it has to buy the PTGC out of the already existing liquidity pools. And it's already scarce in those liquidity pools.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are buying it and then re-adding it back in. So it's kind of like you still have the exact same amount of tokens in LP when we do that.
But the only person that can get to those tokens, they got to buy the tokens, though.
Yes, and a lot of people don't realize is it's raising the price floor of the asset with just putting the tokens back into LP. You can actually buy out a token and then re-add it back in endlessly. Like think about if we had an LP pool and I said, you know what, I want to buy this asset, but now I want to be an LP provider. Well, I can buy the asset out of that LP and then put all those tokens right back in LP. And then let's say Banana comes along and then he's like, oh, I want to buy PTGC and provide LP. Or this is probably a better example for UFO because people are incentivized to provide LP. But then he could buy those same exact tokens and provide LP back with them also. And what that's doing is that's just raising the price floor of UFO or PTGC. And then the only way that pretty much anyone can get at those assets is if they close down those LPs and then sell them. But with the PTGC system, the automated feature within the code, it just sends the PLP tokens to the contract address, which is pretty much a burn because no one can get into that contracted address. Or when we do it with the marketing wallet or the management wallet, when it's with RH tickers, we burn those LPs. On the more speculative ones, we do keep them liquid in case we need to
close them down or rotate them into stables later in the future. But for the most part, all the sustainable assets that we believe in long term get burnt. So those PLP tokens can never be closed down.
These are the things people don't. You're right. They don't understand that. But that's okay.
even when we're adding LPs, we're just raising the price floor of PTGC because we don't have PTGC to pair without an actual purchase out of the existing liquidity pools.
He asks another question. Is it common that swap route includes PTGC, or is it more rare since the tax makes the token more expensive to transact with?
So if he's talking about on PulseX, how there's an auto router that will route through other pairs to get better deals, the auto router will not go through fiat transaction pairs. It just won't route through them. But what does route through them is the arbitrage bots. So one of our main forms of value generation is us utilizing bots to generate revenue. So the auto router on PulseX will not route through it, but if the auto router makes a purchase or if someone makes a buy on PulseX and it throws one of the assets that are in our liquidity web out of whack compared to the price of the asset in our specific liquidity pool, yes, the auto router won't take action on that, but an arbitrage bot will take action on it and then fix the price. And then we obviously get to generate revenue off of that bot fixing prices.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, like a good example is if, let's say a magical amount of demand starts coming into Hex. Let's say Hex just starts ratcheting up. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize about the RH ecosystem is it's just so scarce. And you see a remote amount of demand, prices are going to start to move up very, very quick. Like PulseX is scarce, Pulse is scarce, Hex is scarce. All these are very scarce assets. There's just been very little demand on this chain since Genesis. If a form of demand starts flowing in, if that's through in real life marketing, in real life onboarding, if that's through large investors wanting a piece of this, there hasn't been very many large investors that have actually came into PulseChain since the launch of PulseChain. A lot of them got in via like the sacrifices and stuff like that. But if a large player, let's say a new God whale comes in and says, you know what, I want a large amount of this Hex. Well, and they start buying the Hex up. Well, there is Hex in our specific liquidity pools that the auto router will not go after. It will go after non-fiat transaction liquidity pools, which will create a price difference between the Hex in the non-fiat transaction liquidity pools and the Hex in our specific liquidity pool. And now a bot will see that price difference, and the bot will actually buy PTGC out of an undervalued liquidity pool, which has to pay our fee, and then it will go and sell that PTGC again, our fee, to get at that cheap Hex in that specific liquidity pool. And then that bot will move that cheap Hex to the overpriced liquidity pools, which are the ones that the guy's being buying into without the fee involved. And it'll push that price back down because they bought the Hex for cheaper in a specific pool. Arbitrage bot makes money, and we make money, and liquidity providers make money. Usually in these events, the token holders don't make money, and the price of the asset doesn't go up because of this, but we've actually structured our system in the way that when all this is happening, which this happens on every single chain, this happens through centralized exchanges, the token usually never gets to get price increase from this, and holders don't get value increase from this. We made it to where every holder in our system is actually getting additional tokens in their wallet, so they're being paid for being in the system that does this, and the price of the asset is technically going up in a very small scale with every single transaction, but there's buying and burning happening, there's buying and LP happening, and it's overall moving up the value of the underlying value or the price floor of the asset every single time these price fixes happen, which is happening constantly. A lot of them in very small amounts. $10 here, $5 there, $20 here, $100 here. But that's at the lows of PulseChain. You take that $100 move that you see all the time on DEX tools, and let's say PulseChain's up 10x, or we're up 10x. Well, now that arbitrage bot doesn't need to move $100 to fix that pool. It's going to need to move $1,000 to fix that pool. So now instead of us making 10% on that $1,000, because they have to go in then out, which adds up to 10%, not 5%. We make $10 today on that move. Well, after a 10x, we're making $100. What happens if PTGC or PulseChain is up 100x from this level? Well, now they're going to need to move $10,000 constantly. Now we're making $1,000 on these minor moves. And we've seen when there's actually drastic moves with assets in our pairs, they're not moving just $100 at these prices. We see them moving thousands of dollars at these prices. So after PulseChain does a huge revaluation, and after we do a revaluation from not just PulseChain, but like we were just previously talking about, our own in real life onboarding, our own hard efforts as a community, bringing up our price, those arbitrage bots could be moving tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars just to fix prices. And then we obviously get to generate our 10%. In my opinion, it's probably, and no one really knows this exists besides us on PulseChain because no one's doing this on other chains. It's probably the best use case of bots in all of crypto.
Another question from JV Miner. Is there a certain amount of liquidity that PTGC has to reach for the Treasury to stop LP bonding and buy and burn PTGC instead?
So the code will never stop adding LP.
Yeah.
It adds LP with every single transaction, but specifically with the Treasury, there isn't a specific number for us to stop at. Our system is very much different than a lot of other assets with LP because most assets don't generate revenue off of LP. So they're not as incentivized to keep increasing that LP because that LP just makes it harder for them to pump because that LP doesn't generate them any revenue. It's just pretty much a place for people to enter in and out. And the more LP they have, lets bigger players enter in and out, but it also makes it harder for price to move up. That's why some assets kind of keep their liquidities thin so they can have more volatility. What's unique to our system is the more liquidity that we have, the more these arbitrage bots have to move. And the more liquidity that we have on chain, the more value actually has to route through our specific protocol. So since genesis of PTGC, when PTGC first came out, we were a very, very small fish in this pond, right? We didn't have much impact on any of the RH tickers at that point. But now if you look at the PTGC system and the UFO system, how much liquidity that we have with these major assets, we're now becoming not so much small fish, but more medium and larger size fish. Makes it to where value has to go through our system because we own so much share of the on-chain liquidity. If you look at Hex or PulseX, between PTGC and UFO, we own like $1.5 million of liquidity with PulseX. And if you look at PulseX's liquidity on chain, I think it's around like $10 million or $15 million or something like that. So we're at like 10% of the liquidity for these assets, which makes it to where we can keep increasing that. And the more we increase that, the more share we have of these large assets liquidity, which makes it to where we can generate more revenue. And then going back to like Richard's post earlier today, in a situation where the protocol is extracting value from the chain, this isn't really a good thing. But if the value of the protocol is constantly adding value to the chain, not taking it off chain, but keeping it on chain, buying and burning liquidity pools, doing buy and burns with an asset that's on chain as well. These are all things that keep value on chain. This is actually a big net positive for the blockchain because it's generating revenue off of the natural movements of the chain, taking that revenue and storing that value on chain. You can look at Pump.Fun. Look how much revenue Pump.Fun has created in the last year. I think it's billions of dollars or something like that. Imagine if those $1 billion stayed in Sol and didn't just go into stables and then bridge out, Sol's price would be in a completely different price right now. So by the big protocols on chain actually support the chain, this is going to be really, really good for PulseChain's price overall. Going back to, I went way off topic. My bad.
Let me say something real quick though, Zen. So there's another part to that question that I want to bring up, and it's important and it's very relevant because not everybody in crypto knows what the hell they're doing. And there's a learning curve and a trend to a learning curve over time. And it matters that the people that are doing the things, voting, making proposals, doing the activity, these individuals have a lot of smarts behind them. So some of these questions are, vacuumed in a way, in my opinion, because you're not going to get all the information. The reality is that there's a lot of very strategic and smart things that are going on in every category that makes something do well. And that kind of secret sauce, you're not going to get it. The best part about the DAO and the best part about this system is that everything is immutable. Everything is unchangeable. Everything is self-custody. 100% of the revenue generated goes back to the token holders in one form or another. And the timing, the amounts, the activity, the where the revenue goes, it's all strategic. And it's very important that those strategic moves are happening at very specific times for very specific reasons. And that's why you can't just swirl up an ex-PTGC, right? There's a lot of things that go into creating something like this and making it sustainable and making it viable and making it a reality. And I just wanted to throw that out there, Zed. Maybe you can comment on that, or maybe not at all. But when people ask questions kind of in that direction, I understand it's a great question. But there's also a part of that where, in the same way, the president of the United States isn't going to tell his enemies in advance where he's going or what he's bombing or what he's doing. There's some strategy to that as well.
Yeah, 100%. We were talking about this yesterday on stream. One reason I think Richard's being so quiet is because I think he has stuff in the future planned out. And if he tells everyone what his plans in the future are, that puts him at risk as people copying his future plans. If you were a sports team playing against another sports team because it's, blockchain kind of versus blockchain, there's enough pie for everyone, but you're trying to get network share and mind share over to your blockchain. You don't show everyone your playbooks and what plays you're going to run before the game. You do them in real time to catch people by surprise and win. But going kind of back to his question, is there going to be a point where we have so much LP that we only do buy and burns? I don't think so. There's always different points in the market where you're at high points in the market and it makes sense to add LPs with stable coins. And then there's low points in the market where it makes sense to add LP with assets you think are going to appreciate. Because if you add LP with assets that appreciate, this helps your asset appreciate. There's also always new opportunities for us to add LP pairs with new assets that possibly come out in the future that could help increase the value of our ecosystem, if that's from Hart's Law or if that's just from temporary volatility that generates us revenue. There's a lot of different ways you can utilize this system to increase the value of the system. Some are short-term and some are long-term. And I think with all those moving parts, the ever-evolving space of cryptocurrency, the DAO makes it to where we can constantly evolve with whatever PulseChain evolves into in the future. If that comes to a point where we don't need any more LP and we just do buy and burn, and obviously that's probably the direction we're going to go. If it comes to a point where there's an amazing protocol that comes out that's worth adding LP with, that's going to benefit our system, we'll take action on that. And we're going to add LP with that. If it makes sense for us to LP with stable coins because we feel we're at the top of the asset and we think that could be a great value generation source, plus hedge us against some of the downtrend, obviously nowhere close to all of it because everything goes down in the bear market, but this will be a good bouncing thing for us as far as value generation and hedge us against a tiny bit of it. That's a move we can make as well. So to answer the question, I don't think there will be a point where we only do buy and burns, but what we've shown in the past is we do try to keep a good amount of each going on constantly, because the scarcity aspect on PTGC, I think, is one of the most important things. The fact that it's a scarce asset that is constantly getting bought by itself and pushing the price up gives it a lot of value. I think scarcity is one of the things with cryptocurrency that gives cryptocurrency its product market fit as being a store of value. How scarce cryptocurrency is compared to most other assets that exist, like gold or silver or stocks or real estate. In general, cryptocurrency is very, very scarce. This is where I think Bitcoin pretty much gained most of its traction as far as being an investment, not so much its transactional currency, but the fact that there's only so much for the whole entire world and it's never going to be anything more. Our system is very similar to that. 100% of the supply is in circulation already, but it's also got an amplifier to that. The code's also buying and burning itself at all times. So we 100% get that that's a really big feature within the system, and that really helps the price. But it also helps us constantly to add to the things that are fueling that buy and burn. Every single LP we create is another leg that generates us revenue every single day. Some obviously more than others, and they vary every single day based on the movements of the assets that we're paired to. But I don't see a time in the future where we don't keep those options open as a community.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Zen, the individuals that have been here from the beginning, we have a phenomenal community, and we have a community of, frankly, some of the most ingrained people in PulseChain, in the sense of just knowing the pulse of the chain, knowing the bigger players on the chain, the developers on the chain, the people who are developing new protocols. And so because we have such a vast network of users within the Grace ecosystem, that network of users is basically a intel base for what's going on chain, because it's like we have a bunch of different cells everywhere, that are coming back and giving us information on stuff, right? And so we have the ability to look for things and be open to things and immediately pair with something. But the great thing is that, you're not going to sell Gray's PTGC smart holders on BS, because those individuals know how to spot reality from frugazis, right? So you can try to pitch frugazis all day long. That's not happening. But it's very important to note that there's a vast network of very savvy, very smart users on chain that understand the fundamentals of core value, what something may be, if something looks like there's a core value there. And you could take a certain amount of pulse, swap it for PTGC, take a certain amount of pulse, swap it for that new thing, and that instantly becomes a new revenue generation center for all the holders, right? And those LP tokens aren't necessarily burned on those more speculative plays like he was talking about, because you're going to let that breathe for a minute. You're going to let that play out. But that's why the liquidity web for the Grace currency ecosystem is so broad and so based and so thick and wide, because as we spot things, the protocol can make moves that benefits every single one of the token holders. So that's a whole nother aspect in reality to this that a lot of people don't think about. There's a lot of thought that goes into the liquidity web and what gets paired with these assets, because these assets are very valuable, right? And that there's never a day you're not getting pitched something. But there's core values, there's core characteristics to things that you have to have for that thing to even, for you to even consider that being something pairable outside of the memes, right? But I just wanted to throw that out there, Zen. I think that's an important piece for people to know.
Yeah, one thing I see starting to happen that I think is going to happen even more in the future is as PTGC becomes successful and sustainable, and if the price appreciation continues harder than majority of assets on chain and it's consistent and sustainable, I think what we'll see in the future is more people bonding their new assets with PTGC because of the consistent price growth. For an example, if I'll use UFO and PTGC, right? When UFO bonded with PTGC and when UFO bonded with PulseChain, PulseChain is actually down from the day UFO launched. PulseChain's gone down. So that's actually sucked value away from the UFO token. It's been the current working against it. But when it bonded with PTGC, PTGC's gone up. PTGC's at a higher market cap than when UFO launched. So that's actually helped increase the value of UFO. So what I think is going to happen in the future, as people see consistent increases of value against PulseChain, for an example, we're talking about $5 million comes into PTGC with PulseChain at these levels. PTGC can do a 10x off of this floor. That would put us at all-time highs. That would put us at all-time highs of ratio against PulseChain, and that's actually very easy to do. So actually creating assets and bonding them with PTGC because of the price performance, because if you bond with things that perform better, your product's going to perform better. So it just makes their product look better too. Point being is the only way they could ever bond to us is by buying PTGC first. So they're going to increase the value of their assets specifically because they want to bond with us. But then also when they bond with us, whatever volume flows through that pair, we get to generate revenue off of, because that's our service for our asset. You know what I mean? They're bonding with us because they want the price performance out of us. But what we get out of them is we get the value generation to keep adding to the price performance. And we've already started to see it, right? We've seen people bond with PTGC already. I just think as we succeed even more and as time goes on and as PulseChain evolves into a blockchain of new users and new products and just a thriving blockchain, if we continue the path that we're on, I think this is going to be like an everyday thing for our protocol. Just, hey, bond with PTGC, you're going to get more X's than bonding with Pulse. I think they'll bond with Pulse also specifically because that's the gas token that's the easiest to enter in and out of. But if your asset can get free X's just by putting LP with other assets that are appreciating faster, that makes a lot of sense. This is one thing that we're looking for as well. That's why we have LP PulseChain, is we think PulseChain's going to appreciate faster than ETH or Bitcoin, right? You want to bond with things that are going to go up because it just makes your asset that much better.
I just want to jump in. JV Miner, whose questions we were answering just a few minutes ago, he got a dolphin position today in PTDC. 33 million tokens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the Grays, brother. That's great.
Yeah, I think what's that like? Is that $5,000 right now a dolphin?
Yeah, it's about so it's 33 million tokens, $5,827.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's one position size I'm like very much encouraging, our in real life onboarding strategy towards. I think that's a position size that's in people's ballpark of what they can afford, especially in real life people. And there's only so many dolphin positions even left on the market. you can maybe even hop over to look into PTGC real quick, and we can show how scarce these dolphin positions actually are. We talk about, 1,000 of us onboarding, $5,000 each. And right now, dolphin position for that. But just with a few dolphin positions coming in, let's say 50 dolphin positions coming in, you're no longer even close getting a dolphin position for that amount of value.
Do you want to look at do you want to look at the pooled tokens in LP? Is that where you're headed?
Yep.
There is in PTGC pooled tokens in LP about 12 billion, 11.9 billion tokens.
12 billion just because it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to divide that by 33 million is roughly what he got.
Shoot.
That's 363.
Yeah, man.
So it's literally only 363 dolphin positions what he just got even on the market for purchase right now. He just took away one of those.
Whoa, dude, you just blew my mind. I mean,
yeah,
what?
Obviously, like, as we get through,
price is going to move. Price is going to
more
move
expensive. Yeah. But that's
yeah, I understand.
A lot of people don't realize how scarce this asset is, and right now, a very low amount of people even know it exists. There's very low amount of people that even know PulseChain exists. Imagine the world waking up to PulseChain. There's only 363 PTGC dolphin positions even on the market. And you have to compete with the code every single day to get at that.
Yeah. That is a way to look at it, man. I'm shocked, man. I mean, 1 out of 360.
Yeah.
In crypto, at the bottom of PulseChain is a big deal.
I think it's a big deal. I think getting a dolphin position, if that's someone on PulseChain, if that's another blockchain person, or if that's you onboarding someone in real life, I think a dolphin position is going to become very difficult to obtain in the future with the success of our protocol and the success of PulseChain.
Gary, get your hand up. Did you have something for us, brother?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I've got about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. So I was listening just for the past maybe like 15 minutes, and I own PTGC. I don't know a ton about it. I've come into these spaces in the past to ask questions. Some of the detailed stuff that analysis paralysis people might ask, and that's what a lot of the spaces seem to be. Also, is how is this bonded? How does this work? That kind of stuff. I saw that in this particular space, there's around 85 people. And then someone had said something earlier about, YouTube, content, when you look on YouTube. I did look at YouTube just now, and then I looked at TikTok. So if I look at the chart, when again, I don't know where you guys look at charts specifically, but, where a new person, just browsing through Twitter, falling into a Twitter space, where would they look at? And how would they basically, if they're nervous to ask questions or they never get up on stage as a speaker or something like that, how are they going to learn more than what's being talked about in the moment as far as a space? So just general commentary. Make sure you can hear me. So just general commentary is a crypto relative noob that knows about Bitcoin. Here's it getting talked about. Here's Tom Lee talking about Ethereum. They come to Twitter. They happen to fall into a crypto space. This one says the Gray's currency community spaces. So again, if you bring it down to like the tourist, there's commentary recently about tourists in Twitter. So if a tourist were browsing by, what would they come away from this space with? And I just want to make a suggestion. I put into Grok. You see it pinned up in the top of the room here. About very simple, 3 minute or less. What are videos that would basically help people to onboard themselves if they're not going to ask specific questions in a space like this, or they're not going to engage with the YouTuber creator. When I look at the chart, I see that there was at least the flatline part, which again is 100x from the launch until basically it's no longer looks flatline. And that looks like it happened around November of last year. So about 1 year ago. Would have been whatever. Again, maybe the numbers are a lot higher, but just when I look at a graph of looking at GoPulse, putting in the word PTGC and pulling up whatever their chart is, then that's the image that I see. I see two big humps. One is around January of earlier in this year. Another is around July, as far as like a big pump. And then I try to correlate that just as a tourist to YouTube content. I see that there are videos that were a year ago that have, 1,500 to 2,400, I think is the most viewed video of anything if I put in the word PTGC. And I think the PTGC, those 4 letters, is very brand perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no competition. If you put in grays, if you put in currency, if you put in crypto, put in other keywords, you're going to come up with all the other noise before you come up with the thing that you're interested in marketing, which is the PTGC, right? So I put in PTGC, and you can do it too on YouTube, and without any filtering about like what's more recent or what's more viewed, just basically do a scroll. And if you do a scroll at the top, 20 or so videos that get loaded, a majority are a couple of hundred views. They're people that I've never seen before. Not that I'm paying that much attention, but they're just people I don't see that much about. I see the Prairie, he's in the speaker thing. I see that he's gets views, a couple hundred on his content. And then I go over to TikTok and the same thing. On TikTok, your biggest viewer, as far as it gets the most likes by using the word PTGC, and what pops up on TikTok is Tiger God or Tiger Crypto God guy or whatever, right? And I see him making Twitter posts about it too, but he's got a TikTok. So all I'm saying is, if I'm correlating price and I say, hey, this back in January was the biggest pump, that's when most of the content on YouTube was. And then I think that what we end up doing habitually, we've done it in Hex, we do it in PulseChain, we do it in everything that we care about.
We slow it down.
Is we say, oh, somebody else has that content out there. And even if it's a year old, it's still valid. It's still talking about how the protocol works. It's a walkthrough.
Yep.
It may even be a very in-depth, hour-long investment of time to understand how a protocol works and all the deep liquidity pools and how does that pair and how does it buy and burn? What does this terminology mean? Like I'm just saying, the tourist either gets overwhelmed because it's far too much to eat in one sitting as far as information, or they browse by in a space like this and they think it's interesting, it's curious for the couple of minutes that they're in here. If they stay longer, then that's great. But like at the beginning of entering the space, what would be, I think, a good idea is the bulletin board that we've had the space going for a while, and I'm the only one that's posted anything. And if you started out as the host or as the primary speaker, like I think Mando and Prairie, I see Trevor in here, I saw B-Roots was in here, those guys or anybody that cares about this particular crypto, I think it'd be interesting to start out the space with the direct links to, if it's YouTube, 3 minute or less, what is the protocol? How does it work? We have so many things available to us right now with AI. You can do it with Grok. It doesn't cost anything. You can make a 3 minute video that it has the little alien guy pointing at something and explaining this is how it works. This is why it's different than anything else on other blockchains. And it could just be like, here's the protocol overview. The second thing that at least what Grok was suggesting was, or at least on the top of my head was, now that I know how the protocol works, how can I verify it? What website should I look at? How can I verify that that's not falsified information if I'm looking at blockchain data and I'm getting into the weeds of how cryptocurrencies work, and I'm going through that learning curve as a new person that hasn't been here 7 years. How do I look at that stuff, right? And I thought it was interesting, Mando, I looked at your profile, and your profile, you have the pinned thing, and then the very next thing that I see you posted 15 hours ago was the scan PulseChain box. it'd be awesome because I think that that's great. I just looked through it and I think that that's an awesome block explorer. It looks very clean. It doesn't have a lot of clutter and advertisement. But again, it is different. If people do have any experience with EaserScan, it does look different. And it would be great to see a video walkthrough, 2 minutes, not long, in depth, not a lot of speculation, just this is how the blockchain works, or the blockchain scanner works. This is the best one and why. Like those kinds of things that Grok and the video creation elements that are out there now with AI could do for us very, very easily. And I'd love to see that kind of stuff pinned in the beginning of any of these kind of Twitter spaces where you do get 85 or so tourists. There may be people here that already own the coin. They just want to do like a system check and an update and find out what's going on and, what's new and, what's going on with the charts and so forth. But like, I think that a lot of tourists we miss out on, and we kind of berated that. I think that Richard berated it with his tweet today, about tourists. And yet we're sending out, or he's sending out millions of tablets to fucking attract tourists. So I think if we're going to get any kind of traction on any of these other tokens, I think those kinds of, mandatory launch kinds of ideas need to be normalized. Walking into a space, I should know, here's the thing I should click. Somebody put it up there in the space. And it's a 3-minute little TikTok about this is how the protocol works. This is the next video could be something else if I decided to go further down that rabbit hole. This is how I can verify how the protocol works. I don't know anything about code, but I want to know something. Someone else is telling me that it's verified other than just saying so. Like, what can I look at? What website? What data can I look at? And then, Deck Screener, we end up pointing at Deck Screener a lot. And then, how do I buy? That would be a quick video, not an in-depth, long-winded sort of thing that we end up losing our attention of our attention deficit people. And then how do I sell? Like, those are kind of the 4 things that matter about anything in this space. NFT, L1, L2, meme coin, those are the 4 things. And so what ends up happening is we end up pointing everybody to B-Roots or Ian. We ended up pointing everybody to someone else that's going to make the content or make the live show. We end up coming to these spaces to try and learn some little detail that, some little, would you say, I forget what Mando said it, but basically the secret sauce. We look for a secret sauce. There's no fucking secret sauce, man. It either gets known and people know about it, or it doesn't. And that's really what impacts the chart the most, in my opinion, right? It's not a lot of the nuance as much. It's more how does it work? How can I check that the metrics are going up, whether it's onboarded users, how many holders, how many stakers, those metrics, that's what affected Hex was when we finally got charts, right? Before we didn't have charts when we were in AA. And then, how do I buy it? And then how do I sell it? Like for the tourists. The tourist crowd is who we're trying to advertise, at least what supposedly the tablets are doing. So like, I think that linking up with that marketing campaign would benefit greatly the Grays currency. Because it is really synergistic. Now, the last thing I'll say, because I do have to go, is I don't know enough about the protocol, even though I own some. I don't know enough about the protocol about, would you incorporate wrapped ETH? Does that have a buy and burn benefit? Would you incorporate wrapped BNB? These other things, because when I look at Unichain, you can trade on, or not Unichain, Uniswap. You can trade Binance now. You can trade Sol now. You can trade all these other multi-chains that used to be considered a competitor because Uniswap was so identified with the blockchain of Ethereum. And now it's not. Now it's not as much. They've done a lot to grease the wheel, so to speak, of people that want to trade anything that they want to trade. They can do it back and forth between chains really very easily. It may be bridged, but it doesn't feel bridged because it's pretty instant. And I just wonder, like, does PTGC have that kind of ability to outreach to other chains, or are we so siloed in the RH ecosystem that, we're just basically advertising PulseChain and all the things on PulseChain that can be bought and burned with the Grays. So that's just my bit is, go to TikTok, just put in PTGC, see how many views you got. There's 12 on Prairie Guy, and there's like 221 likes on Tiger God. And then go to YouTube and don't put any filters and just put in PTGC and then look at how many views you got and when they happened. as far as the most viewed videos, and you'll see it directly correlates with the price chart of PTGC. So, I just think that these spaces could be used a lot better if the bulletin board at the top, when I walked by as a tourist, took me to something that gave me a quick explainer so that I could follow along with the people that have been here for 2 years, since PTGC launched. You guys are all speakers, and I want to hear what you have to say. But as a tourist, it probably would be far too in the weeds, and I would just pass on and go on to something else. Just general commentary.
That's good stuff, Gary. I appreciate that. We're going to take action on a lot that you just said. We appreciate you coming up and talking to us about that. We do.
I see Moon King. Were you listening, Moon King, when I was doing my bloviating?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of glimpsed through half of it, so not all of it. I kind of like the TikTok thing. I mean, I would say like TikTok is a pure example of a pure tourist type person because of the age bracket. I would say mainly YouTube, Instagram, or X as far as social media outlets. TikTok is like a Solana chain type thing. It's very like quick money thinking like, so I don't think it converts. I know there's other people that go on there and do that, but I would like to see the conversion rate of money, the amount of money that comes in, or even people that really talk on TikTok. It's just a different type of format, different type of person, different type of investor. Instagram for sure converts, and then YouTube's probably the number one conversion. Instagram's probably third. I would say third for crypto Twitter, and then obviously X is going to be your information. So I would say, you still need those how to do videos. I think we have a few of them from last year. I thought one guy made a really good video on how to buy PTGC. If I could type on how to buy PTGC or anything like that on YouTube, I get that's what I do because I don't like to explain the beginner stuff to people. It's just not my thing. So I just literally type in how to buy PTGC, and I do get a bunch of videos that come up to do that. And I think at the end of the day, it's just green candles. If you don't have the green candles, there is no one going to ask how to buy PTGC because the next phase is the in real world marketing that we're doing, because nobody knows who Richard Hart is because Richard Hart doesn't stream anymore. No one's going to know who Richard Hart is until there's green candles. So what do we do to combat Richard Hart? There's one of three things we can do. As you say, get more people involved that are outside the ecosystem, 1,000%. I've been saying that for 4 years. When it comes to PulseChain, that's a no-brainer. The second thing is go outside the ecosystem. So right now within PulseChain, the only way that can be done is to wrap Bitcoin and Ethereum or some type of stable coins, and then we can do our own thing. Is that the right time to do that now? Yeah, I think it might be a little immature right now, just with the timing of things and everything. Talk to me in 2026, that might change. But for right now, I don't think that would probably be the right thing to do. But that is on the table. And that's why I also say that PTGC is the ultimate coin on PulseChain, especially if you're sick and tired of what you're seeing and just tired of waiting. And you still want to. The problem with investors, even within PulseChain, is that you have a tendency to be stuck in a stuck mindset. And, people don't like the way I talk because it's too blunt, but it's actually the truth, in my opinion. A lot of people feel stuck. So, in my opinion, if you feel stuck, the best way is to feel unstuck in some type of way is through PTGC, because PTGC, in my opinion, is the only coin on PulseChain that has the ability to run without the RH tickers. That's the mindset within RH.
Yeah.
You could actually just start freaking just pile in on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Ethereum goes up. Guess what? PTGC is going to go up. There is no other coin on PulseChain that can do that. So is that strategically, like I said, is that the strategically the right thing to do? No, right now, I don't think so, but we have the ability to do that. So at the end of the day, green candles, number 2. And then number 3 is just marketing outside of PulseChain. So that is getting the spaces. I do it in a different way. I market, I'm very multi-chain. So for every single coin that I get a 25, 50, 100x in, guess what? There's people in other communities that are going to be listening to me because they're like, man, he's got a big following. He got into our coin. Cool. What does he have to say about things? What other coins he's into? And that's how I go into PTGC. So I'm actually an indirect shiller on other coins where you'll see people like go on James Wynn's space and they'll talk to people and they're very, which works too. That works too. I just do it in a very indirect way. So to sum it all up, green candles is always going to be the number 1 thing. We got to find a way to get green candles when no one else is getting green candles. Because to be honest with you, as you can see through my tweets, and I know many of you think the exact same way, you're just not willing to express it. But it's stuck and you feel like you're being left behind in this market. So so to be unstuck, we just got to know that we have a way to get unstuck just through the protocol as it sits itself. And then the other thing, continue creating content, doing these spaces calls is key. Continue doing YouTube, Instagram, and X videos, not just X tweets, but X videos also. X actually wants videos more than it does tweets. So that's why you see me do a lot of videos on X. So I think out of those 3 things, that's the way to become unstuck. That's the way to go against the grain. I've been preaching multi-chain for a long time. And I think over time, it just becomes more like, yeah, he's right. He knows what he's talking about. Because being multi-chain actually is the best way to get more people onto your chain. Whether you like it or not, whether it sounds crazy or not, sooner or later, you're going to realize it. To get green candles, you got to go outside the box. So, and a mixture also of in real life people. So, I think we're doing everything that we can do, and we have the ability to actually go around the ecosystem if we choose to do that at a later date. Because this, like I said, this is the only chain that has the ability to make money off of other L1s on PulseChain. So, and by that I mean wrap Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, or anything else that gets bridged over here. So just realize that I think right now we're just more we're in that stuck position, and I think we're doing a good job. I think everything's good. I think everything's fine. I think we do have those. We do need to take that video that was done last year that was really good, as Gary said, and probably market that a little bit more for people who want to understand what's going on, because it is very difficult and very intense. So I was very long-winded. It was very long-winded.
Let me make a comment, then I got to go. I appreciate Moon King a lot. He's got experience in the space. Again, people hate on him. They hate on what Richard says until they love Richard, and then they hate on Moon King until they love Moon King, because the truth bears out over time. And you've been in the market since I think 2013 or something like that. You commented on your tweet, your rage tweet. But this is all experience based. Everything's experience based. And again, I think if you correlate and you look at the charts and you say, okay, when was the spike? When was the second spike? And you then correlate that to what you want to consider evergreen because it's a year-old video. I don't think it's evergreen. I think the algorithm prefers fresh things. I think that we have so many tools available to us that are very simple to deploy, very easy to deploy, especially with Grok embedded into Twitter to create these quick little videos. I love the mimetic of the Gray's, icon and the aliens talking between each other and some kind of vintage video. I love all that kind of stuff. I think it's so memeable. It's so memeable to get, 5 seconds of attention or 30 seconds of attention just to say, what is this that they're talking about? That was funny. That made me laugh, right? And then you can go over to the no more than 2 minute or at the most 3 minute kind of, this is how the protocol is. This is what it works. It can still be your little characters. Like that kind of stuff is the entertainment side of why people go to casinos, is because it's fucking fun. It's not just because they want to make their next mortgage payment and pay off their kids' tuition. It's because it's fun. And I think the PTGC has a great opportunity to be fun. Out of everything else that's in this space, it could be fun. And so I think that we have a great opportunity when it comes to AI related, simplistic ways. And if you want to do something, again, Moon King, I think it was valid. He said something about grants. That would be $15 million worth of fucking grants. Every time that he has had these spaces, him and Ian had these spaces with Shield Tank, it was a sponsored event. He was making money with Ian, but also that we're getting advertisement to new eyes and ears that were coming to the space for Moon King. Now, I don't think that PTGC should necessarily only point to the YouTube channel of Crypto Kings, because PTGC is PTGC. They care about one coin and one token and one creation for their developers and for this, people that are in this space with the header of the title as we see it. But you're amazing when it comes to getting new eyes and ears. And I think that, the grant idea could be something that we did 1,000 times back when Hex was worth next to nothing, giving away millions of Hex. You could do stuff that doesn't have to necessarily deplete your bag. There's all kinds of fundraise kinds of opportunities. We could do fundraise and then put that to a pool and split it. You can split it with the top video views of the week, or the month or whatever. So someone has the incentive as a creator to use AI, make these little 2 minute, 3 minute little documentaries. I saw that K4K was one of the bigger people in the back in the day, talking about PTGC, but it's fucking stale content, man. It's old. And I think that if you incentivize in some way, whether it's fundraised by the 83 people that are in the space, by the people that decide that they could come up as a speaker and they put $10 in the pot, they could do something. And, then that incentivizes people, small creators, until you get big enough that you could sponsor a big creator, a big person, and say, oh, look, you got the most views of the month about PTGC specifically. This is a pay-to-play fucking space. As much as Richard likes to think that this is community and grassroots and we don't want to pay for stuff, it's funny because now $10 million or whatever is being spent on tablets when it wasn't spent on, Altcoin Daily or Ivan and crap like that, right? So it's interesting that we play this noble, we're better than everyone else. When we point to the fucking chart, we're not, because we don't advertise effectively. And we could advertise it through outrage, and we could advertise through information and info dump, kind of utility kinds of sides of things. But at the end of the day, I think it has to be fun. If it's not fun, nobody wants to be here, no matter what the chart is.
Zen, why don't you tell them real quick about what's going on? There's a lot of stuff being worked on, Gary, right now.
Yeah.
Incentivize all of that behind the scenes that nobody knows about, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
the space. Somebody should pin it to the top of the space, because as a tourist, I didn't know any of that.
No, you won't know it yet because you're not. It's not complete. But Zen, whatever you want to put out there.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I'll listen to the space more, but I like when Moon King comes in. I think his experience is a lot. I think everybody wants something, we want things to happen, and we don't really know the action steps. And I think that in the era of AI, we're gonna have to prove our action steps, and actually follow through with action steps on the stuff we care about. So I do need to go, but I appreciate everyone on the space. I always like listening in. I'm a bag holder, but I want to see something happen on the fucking chain. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be cores. It doesn't have to be RH Maxi stuff. It can be anything. And I just need to learn more about PTGC in general. because it's, you know, it's a line.
Well, Gary, what's prevented you from learning about it? Because you've been a holder for quite some time, and every time you come in here, you still say you don't know anything about it.
Dude, I've made more money outside of crypto than I made inside of crypto.
Well, right, I get that. I get that, right? I get that, but you care enough to show up. You're still showing up on PulseChain, Gary. We've known each other for a long time, man. You're still showing up.
Most people in these spaces have a lot of free time. A lot of free time. A lot of fucking free time. Moon King has free time, but he's being paid for his free time. So, like, we have a lot of free time, but we shouldn't. I don't think we should have free time. I think we should have productive businesses and productive lives and do things that are relationship building outside of the crypto sphere. And
I agree.
I choose to do that. I got to go.
I would put it this way, Gary, on my part of it, because I want to talk about my part. I've thrown some ideas to some people that I think is going to kind of tweak the way marketing can be done with PTGC. And I do agree it's pay to play, but some of that pay to play also takes connections and things to get put forth through so it can be done the right way. So within the last week, there is something that's probably going to come up that's going to change things the way people even talk about PTGC. So I can throw that out there. I won't give it out unless Zen wants to go with that. But as far as like changes and things like that, trust me, especially for me, if I'm going to be marketing something, I've got the ideas always to be 10 steps ahead of everybody else. And I do think that within the next week or two, you'll start seeing some things. So you heard it on a recorded space first from me. So.
Yeah, and Gary, I know you're gone, but just for the recorded, appreciate you coming up. I took an absolute shit ton of notes because every time Gary comes in, I'm listening to somebody who is a real investor.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you have to be listening to. There's a lot of things that he said that makes a lot of sense. But there's also, Zen, you didn't really get to chime in there. There's a lot of things that are happening right now that are being worked on to help basically put those types of things in place.
Yeah, I'll say a little bit real quick, just because I felt like everything, or mostly what Gary was talking about, we are kind of working on behind the scenes. We have a new website coming out, and I know Banana has already volunteered. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just real fast. What I'm doing, keep it on the low. Just keep that on the low.
Not the website.
Main reason is there's just ears and eyes of people in here that's not.
Oh yeah.
None of
that's coming out. See.
Okay.
None of that's coming out. See.
Yeah. No, I'm just kind of talking about the. So I am still working on the website, and on the website there's a specific onboarding page. This page is going to have a video that's like a 3.5 minute video that tells you about PulseChain and about PTGC. Really quick, real easy for brand new people, tourists, as Gary was kind of saying. We can send them to that video. There's also going to be a library of how-to videos that Banana's already volunteered some of his time to create these how-to videos with the new website. So those are two of the things that Gary brought up that we already kind of have in the works. And we'll definitely make sure to start pinning this at the top of these spaces. He's 100% right. People that flow in and out of spaces, and we have to make it easier for them to find the how-to videos, and also a library of fresh how-to videos. And like I said, Banana's already said he's going to make some awesome how-to videos with the new dApps and everything, all brand new. So that will be super sweet. And then also we are working on an idea with this onboarding page. Our community is incentivized to onboard either in real life people or people throughout crypto. And the DAO is going to fund a wallet to help incentivize this stuff. So these are all kind of things on the back end that we're working on. It's one of the reasons why the website's taken a lot longer. And as Gary was saying, a lot of times you have to motivate people incentives to put in the hard work. He was making the example of incentivizing video creation. I thought that was a great point to bring up, that we are working on something built into the website that incentivizes onboarding into the protocol, which should be pretty cool. Also, for the people who don't care about the incentives but just need good tools to onboard to make it easy, all this should be right there on that same page as well. Just like Gary said, we need to make it easy for these tourists to get in. They don't have all the time in the world. People are busy in real life. So hopefully this helps our community grow.
Yeah, there's also a lot of other things too that are coming as well. More videos, more channels that are going to be popping up, and some other things on the backside that they can't be discussed until they're finished. It's important to have refresher talks about
Marketing.
I love Gary because he always just comes in and just brings that investor feel.
Yeah.
It's basically
he's
somebody
kind of
who
telling us
it's
what he
basically
wants to
somebody
see.
exactly what I just was gonna say.
Like,
it's a real investor
he's
saying,
an
guys, this is
investor,
what
and
I
he's
want
like,
to see.
hey.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I make money in the real world. It's me to post about that today. Like, the people that make money in the real world and are actually bringing it into crypto is, the people we should be trying to onboard. And then he's saying like, hey, I'm an investor. I make money in the real world. And these are the things I'm looking for in products on PulseChain. So then it's like, okay, cool. We need to have the features that these players like Gary, the people we want to onboard, are looking for. Hold on, I'm going to pause out.
I mean, I get the idea of new videos and things like that. And I think we do have that stuff out there. New videos is always good, but we got to have new information also, new updates and things like that. So at the end of the day, it doesn't help that, the PulseChain price isn't going up. So that's really the base of the situation. We can go up without PulseChain, and therefore new videos will come. But it's got to be come videos, not even just crypto, but just in general. There's got to be a massively new update, and I think we're going to have updates to have those new videos, new, like you said, new website, different things that we have coming in the future, that will create buzz, create those articles, create new videos and things like that. But at the end of the day, that's going to give you a nice little pump, but we need to make sure that it is a sustainable pump at the end of the day. So it'll raise the floor. It'll 1,000% raise the floor for sure, and keep everyone making yield and keep everyone happy. But at the same time, there is that dark horse in the room named Richard Hart. So we need to get going on that forefront, because I do think that once everything's firing, I think, we don't even have to make the videos. It'll be all the new people coming in making videos. So.
Yeah, I think though that there is a learning curve to just anybody coming in and making a video, but there's definitely need for people within the community that know the system in and out to potentially put out some content, and even potentially then have a YouTube channel that is a PTGC official YouTube channel that's actually uploading content from people that know what they're talking about.
As long as we don't do a conference. Don't do the conference, please.
Yeah.
Please don't do a conference.
Can we just not say the word conference for until the next cycle starts? At least till Bitcoin breaks an uptrend. Yeah, like next cycle, Bitcoin halving, it's maybe talk about a conference.
Conferences just they just don't work.
We can go to Maddie's conference, bro.
Oh gosh. No.
Maddie's conferences are off the chain, bro.
I tried. I even spoke at the PulseChain conference.
Yeah,
But I didn't want to do it. You know me. I was like, man.
Hey, at least we had the OG entrance and got to hang out with DCC and the guys, man.
It was fun. We made it fun.
We had fun, though, man. Yeah.
I was actually just talking to my neighbor about that yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a blast. You remember? Oh, I can't even bring that up. Man, at the club, man, I was like, oh, yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
Yeah, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. See, you guys miss out. You're not a subscriber. You guys miss out.
But I will tell you, though, that in real life, everybody talking about PTGC, man. Everybody loves PTGC. They love how it works. You know, it's always good vibes with PTGC, man.
You know what annoys me the most? I'm going to throw a little complaint. I'm going to rant a little here, but
Go ahead.
Do it.
what annoys me the most is I know, you want to talk videos, you want to talk just marketing. I just know that's 9 let's take 10 of the top PTGC, or excuse me, the top 10 PulseChain influencers.
Okay.
9 out of 10 of them are in PTGC. I know for a fact. And that's probably part of the marketing that Gary's looking for. But he would never know it because they're too afraid to talk about it. But
They'll talk about
they're
their
in it.
other things.
I know, but they're in it. So that's probably what baffles me the most is the hypocrisy, and this is a rant on the community, the hypocrisy of the community itself. So you can't say Richard Hart is a hypocrite if you believe that he's a hypocrite because he says one thing and then the next week he says something completely different. Well, a lot of people need to look in the mirror because they're doing the exact same thing. They're in something they want to talk about. They know what it takes to make a coin grow, but they don't want to talk about it because they're afraid that maybe Richard Hart might block them, or they're afraid that blah, 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 blah. But 9 out of 10 of so you guys as community members need to get on those people because I'm letting you know, you name the influencer on PulseChain, they have a bag of PTGC. I guarantee it. I know it for a fact because I know people closest to them that talk about it. So just know, maybe the community needs to get on those people to step up and start rating them and say, hey, man, why are you talking about PTGC? It's the number one point on PulseChain. Why don't you get behind it? So maybe that's what our new way to get behind it because you got, I won't mention names, but you got people who run pretty much the Google algorithm when it comes to Hex and PulseChain. And they've got a bag of PTGC, but they won't talk. They won't say a word about it. If they do say a word about it, if they're on an interview or something, it's very quick because they don't want to, oh, yeah, PTGC is a good coin, but that's it. That's all. But they got a massive bag.
We just got confirmation from about 8 different influencers on PulseChain this week that have agreed to stream with us. We don't want to stream until things are really heating up over on PulseChain, but there are some big names in that list of 8 and that we will be streaming with in due time.
Yeah,
they committed.
I'm just not a fan of doing it when this is the perfect time to do it too.
I agree,
Continue it while there's green candles. Why do they gotta wait till there's green candles so they can get the following and the lights behind that? I was talking about PTGC when it wasn't even freaking popular. Same thing with SHIB. Same thing with PulseChain. Same thing with, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, if they want to, and they're listening, if you're listening to this recording and you're one of those people, you want to become big, you want to get past 30,000 followers, 20,000 followers, you want to be the next big influencer, so-and-so, you got to do that by talking about something when it's not popular. Not when everything's green candles and you think you're going to get all the likes and everything from it. No, because you know who's going to get the benefit of the doubt? People like myself who's been talking about it and who's got freaking tweets that goes all the way from the beginning. It just baffles me because people don't understand what it takes to actually win. I
agree with you to a point, but everybody on PulseChain has already been exposed to PTGC. They have had years to get their bag of PTGC.
You gotta think further than that, though. You got to think further than that. You got to think some of these people run, like when I say run, they've got a very good following through Google. When I say following, but Google Analytics.
Yeah.
We need PTGC matched with PulseChain when it comes to Google Analytics. When it comes to YouTube, we gotta pressure them to say, "Hey man, let's stream when it's green and when it's red. Why not? It's the only thing going on PulseChain right now. Because I know you have nothing to talk about. All you're doing is talking about the same old Hex and PulseChain over and over and over and over and over again, and that ain't doing nothing. So talk about something new. Like, it's only going to help your content because you've already got 50 million videos on PulseChain over the last 5 years.
But they don't have 29% of the supply, B. You know, so.
Guess what? They don't have 29% of the supply of PulseChain either. I know I'm sacrifice more to them guys. So it's, I know. It's just that. That's all, man. I think we should push those guys more than anything if you want those videos that Gary's talking about.
Yeah, B, I'll take a little bit of ownership. It's some of those names they've had us on before, and it's just something that they haven't like warmed us up constantly. So I felt like the best time if we did get another chance to go up with them is when, you know, there is a little bit of green coming in where morale's coming in and there's proof of new value actually flowing to the chain. But you are right. Like maybe we should have tried to get 2 interviews. Like, hey, let's do one right now when everything's slow, and then can we get a follow-up interview when things start cooking too? And maybe that's
just ask them an open-ended question. Just a straight open-ended question.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
What are you looking for? And you let them talk. If they can't answer that question as an influencer, what are you looking for? And you're not able to combat that answer with the answer that's going to make them say, yeah, you're right, then you're realizing that these guys are just bullshit.
Hey, Beavers, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's up? So I have a question. Like, I think one of the issues is, like you said before, like we never name names. Like we got to pressure these people. Like, I don't know why not call them out? Like, I feel like everybody's walking on eggshells all the time. It's fairly annoying. Like, I'll fucking call them out.
Because why should we be calling people out? Everyone has a right to do whatever the hell they want.
That's right.
Yeah, but if they're holding quiet bags and they're not pushing PulseChain.
Listen what I say. Without calling names. Without calling names. PulseChain OG, without calling names. Every single PulseChain influencer that you know has a bag of PTGC.
That
There's
blows
no need
my
to call
mind.
names. I just said it. Name it, yes.
Wow.
Guarantee it.
What up, dudes?
What up, Trev?
Hey, I'm driving right now, so if it's a little background noise, I apologize. But this is actually, this is a topic that is kind of, I don't know. I can definitely speak on this one. And to your point, B, 100%, man. There's people all over this chain. I mean, top 5, top 10 influencers, they all hold PTGC. But, what's your name here? PulseChain OG. To your point, though, you can't, I respectfully, man, I disagree. I don't want to put people's feet to the fire and be like, oh, see, you own a bag. You should be talking. it's freedom of speech. They can be quiet. They can be public. I don't really give a shit, dude. You know,
I'm not really saying call them out like aggressively. I'm more saying like, hey, you own a bag. We need to get on the map, and PTGC is obviously one of those coins that can do it.
My focus right now is I think my intent personally, like if I'm going to stand up here on this stage and say, I know for a fact that the top influencers and the top 2 of the top 5 sacrificers for PulseChain and PulseX hold big bags of PTGC and have never sold and love the protocol, but have never said anything about it. I share that information not to put a fire under their feet, but rather to share that information so that everyone else listening understands you have a fucking chance, dude. You have a chance, like, to get in on something early. So for me, it's more of just a marketing thing, rather, to say, hey man, there's all these really cool people in this space that own this token and love it, and maybe they're not speaking about it right now. Man, that's their prerogative. The one thing I've always seen is that, like, whether it's an asset that holds value, whether it's a band that ends up becoming popular, whether it's a company that is a startup that becomes a multi-billion-dollar organization later on, is that, you know, like, at some point the truth comes out. At some point people realize the magic that was behind that thing. And I you know, for me, when I'm privately talking about PTGC, I mean, you're talking literally, dude. I am that guy. I am the guy. Maxi, Hex, Pulse. That's it. I ain't touching shit than that. I mean, ask Mando, ask B-Roots, ask anybody. I am self-admittedly guy. And then I started kind of venturing out a little bit, man, and I found PTGC. It's not because I made a little bit of cash on it, you know. In fact, I've really not all that. I've never sold any, like, nothing like that. Yeah, but my thing is that, you know, I was, if I'm being completely transparent, I was like, man, I don't know, I'll probably get blocked from Richard, or I'll get blocked from some of my other homies who are just super maximalist as well. You know, I had those thoughts, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'll humbly admit that I had those thoughts. But I remember the first time I tweeted about PTGC.
I do too.
Heart kind of beat a little bit fast. Not gonna lie, but I was like, "Fuck you, dude." I'm not gonna sit here and like have you tell me what I can and can't say. You know, I can say and I can buy whatever I want, and you may have an opinion. I truly don't give a shit. And at this point, dude, I would hope, man. I'm with you, man. I hope that other people would become more vocal. And as we see people and do becoming vocal, I mean, I know I'm not a big fan of the guy, but you know, we've got Rackham that has used. Better term.
Hey, Trevor, you're
Your
wrecked.
connection again, bud.
You're wrecked, brother. You're wrecked, Trevor.
So I want to bring up 2 things. One, PTGC, because of the liquidity pools and how thick they are, they help the core tokens, right? So like that should be one thing we're pushing for these people that don't want to support other things because they think it's RH maximalist only. Like, technically PTGC is going to help the core tokens, not only because of adoption, but because of the liquidity pools. And you know, secondarily, like, people that don't like Richard Hart, which is a lot of people in the space, they're not going to buy core tokens because they're affiliated with him. So we need to push stuff sometimes that is not directly related to RH. And you know, PTGC, in my opinion, should be that token because it's got a lot of liquidity. It's a safe token. It's got history. You know, it's not some stupid meme.
It's the perfect token. It's the perfect.
Exactly. So like, again, we don't want to call people out, or, you know, we don't want to, you know, do.
You just got to pressure them from a community standpoint, because I know they have a bag of PTGC, but guess what? So does their audience. So what I'm basically challenging the audience of those people that watch them also have a bag of PTGC, learn how to pump your bags. So like, just pressure them in the comments, pressure them on when they're live, pressure them continuously saying about it, because what happens is when that's all they get, and no one cares about the stuff that they're talking about, we get another PDI. Remember when PDI was going up and I made the Rocky video and I said, when 1 cent hits, these guys are going to start talking about it. I guarantee you, because that's what they do. And all of a sudden, you even got Johnny Chaos coming out saying, well, I had a bag the whole time. Whoa. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that needs to be pushed on a lot because everyone, I'll call out names on here because this is a token that's already launched and they've already came out and said they had it. So I'll start calling out names. Your Crypto Coffee, your Matty Allen, your Johnny Chaos, all these Hexicans that are all maxi all of a sudden had bags of PDI or all about PDI when it was at 3 cents. They never said a word from it from 5 zeros and a 1 all the way up to 3 freaking cents. And when 3 cents came, all of a sudden they shielded to a bunch of people that ended up being at the top. Well, guess what? All you had to do was shield it from the bottom. And you think PTGC is up at the top? No, PulseChain hasn't even moved yet. So it's actually at the bottom. So you got to pressure these guys to let them know that, hey, yeah, there are people who got massive bags ahead of you. But guess what? There's people in the top 10 that can dump all their tokens now and the price will drop, what, 25, 30% and wick right back up? Massive big deal. Congratulations. You dropped the price 30%. We see that Bitcoin every 3 or 4 months. So it's not that big of a deal, even if those quote, unquote, big bags do sell, because it's just going to get scooped right back up. That's what the system is set for. So you just have to pressure these guys to, like, tuck the penises out from their legs and they can, like, grow a pair.
We want PTGCs to do good because it makes. I was talking to B yesterday. We haven't even had $1 billion market cap token on the chain yet, man. Because everybody just wants to just launch the regurgitation of a regurgitation of a regurgitation. Instead of all of the biggest guys that are in a thing just putting out some great content about, they don't even have to be like, the cheerleader dude. Just make some content about this new awesome thing on the chain for you to take a look at.
They talked about most. They talked about most. And guess what? Most only went to $120 million market cap. Guess what? It couldn't even outdo PTGC. So why are you talking about PTGC?
I think I just need to buy a botted account, pretend like I got a fucking tablet, and just start talking about PTGC. Apparently, that's the
Liberty Swap way.
Serious. In terms of what Trevor was saying, I'll be honest with you, Trevor. There is no maximalists left. No. All the maxis have turned into scammers.
They don't launch their own coins.
Protocol stealer launcher guys, and they don't say that they're doing anything because they ain't got the balls to say it. But none of these people on chain are maxis. None.
They all talk trash. Even the ones that talk trash on PTGC, like they're supposed to be the maxis, and look what they're doing right now.
Yeah, they either talk trash.
We don't like tax tokens. Literally, a tax token comes out, and all of a sudden they're still on tax tokens.
They literally go launch their own tax token. We don't like PTGC tax token. 5 months later, we launch that tax token.
It's all bag lies, bro.
That's how we know we said
Guys, I want to draw attention to Raxi in the chat. He just came over to PulseChain just recently, and I think he discovered PTDC or has been turned on to PTDC. Raxi, if you have any questions about the protocol, you're welcome to come up and ask. We have the founder on and several leaders in the community that can answer any questions.
Yeah, come up into space, and we'd love to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, man, come on.
Sorry, my mic was wrecked. I am gonna step down, boys. It's so good hearing from y'all. If you can still hear me, so
You too, Trev.
I'll talk to y'all soon.
Have a good day, brother.
I heard Raxley was the cousin of the Liberty Swap dev.
Interesting. Well, he might be busy too. But anyhow, he seems very, very excited about PulseChain. I'm excited for him for what he discovered.
I wanted to touch base on a few things real quick that B-Roots pulled up. You know, it is kind of on our own community to get, you know, some of the bigger KOLs on PulseChain to talk about PTGC. For the most part, they're going to talk about whatever their community is asking them to talk about. And the reason why they specifically are RH cores only is because that's specifically what their community is asking from them. But if a very large group of people in the PTGC community just spend a little bit of time to like show them like, hey, we actually would like you to talk about these assets as well, I do think a lot of them would start producing a little bit more content on it because, like B-Root said, they hold bags and they actually understand that PTGC helps the chain, you know, and they didn't fully understand it at first until Richard actually started pointing out all the features that had PTGC in it, like the bonded liquidity with other assets. They just pull each other up. The fact that the code itself actually keeps value on chain instead of extracting it. The power of buy and burn, the power of LP, you know, APY built into code. All the features we know Richard likes, we have here. So, and they all actually are recognizing it now. I think we just have to show them that their community wants to hear about PTGC from them. And I think they will start talking about it if we just kind of put in a little bit of work in that direction. We were talking about how our community is putting a lot of work in IRL onboarding. So I think we should definitely keep in that way. But also for the people who maybe don't have in real life people they want to onboard, or if they also have time inside socials, that's a good direction, you know, to kind of push as well. Show them that the community is still here and still strong. And we're ready to and to get them talking as well.
So I do want to add
I'm
one.
gonna throw this out here real quick, too. The biggest gatekeeper of PTGC is Richard Hart. So that's who their leader, quote unquote leader, is. So you'll hear me label them as sheep sometimes, but don't be afraid to raid the biggest gatekeeper of PTGC, because he knows how it feels to be gate kept. So make sure you include him in your raids. If you get blocked, I want to let you just be respectful. You don't got to be as crazy as I am. Please don't be as crazy as I am, because you will get blocked. But be respectful in doing those raids, and just maybe things will flip. Because at the same time, he knows we exist. Those top influencers know we exist. So don't try to ignore us, just kind of how CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap ignored them. So at the same time, be respectful, but raid him. And that's the thing. He's not going to block you because don't outrage the way I outrage. Just raid it, you know, everything that he says. You guys gotta be afraid. Don't be afraid to raid. What's the most you're gonna do is get blocked. I'm gonna let you know. If you get blocked, it doesn't matter. You can still click on their page and still look at all their tweets. The only different thing is you can't respond to them. But what do you got to lose? Do you want to make money? Do you want to win? Do you want to change your life? Do you want to 10x your life? Or are you afraid of what other people are going to say on Crypto X that don't know anybody? You'll never meet 95% of these people ever. So what do you got to lose? Raid.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, if the rating goes good with Richard and we get an attaboy or whatever, I bet you for sure some of the larger KOLs will easily start bringing up PTGC a lot more. Kind of like how they were so willing to bring up most because it got an attaboy from Richard. And that's kind of, I think, what a lot of them are looking for is the, like, you know, the head nod at specific protocols.
So I was going to add, Beaver's, to kind of what you said. Like, you've noticed recently a lot of the engagement we're getting is from people rating and us being like ratioing bigger accounts. PGC needs to, I think, take a look at that that method and push that.
1,000%. That guy that did the space with Hexologists.
Yeah.
You know what was the number one thing he talked about? It was literally PTGC. Guess what? He hit me up in his DMs. Instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly, we rated him, and he hit me up in his DMs. And he says, what do I need to know about this? And what did I do? I went on YouTube. I said, how to buy PTGC. And I went into it, and he says, I need to know a little bit more. What is it? And I literally found that video that he did last year. I sent it to him. I don't know whether he ended up buying or not. I don't know. He'll probably do that once he's up in price. But I'm just letting you know, that's what happens when you raid. Literally, it was supposed to be all Hex and PulseChain related, and we went on there and we raided, and guess what? He follows me. I found that this guy DM'd me like 3 years ago on a coin that we were in together.
I think it'd be very obvious how many people jumped on board once the price starts going up. We just need to keep pushing the raids on larger accounts posts and ratio them. Like Hexologist has been doing a pretty good job with that just from PulseChain perspective, but PTGC specifically,
we got way too many people.
Rally.
It's funny too, B, because people really don't know. Like, there's some big whales in PTGC that aren't even from PulseChain.
I believe it.
You believe it, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing. It's like people don't even realize. It's like everyone's like, I'm in, but I'm not seeing anything. It's like, well, what is going on here? Like, what is crypto?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like everyone has recognized that this is a unique smart contract suite protocol on a blockchain that's kind of wrecked. But they all recognize that the Gray's currency is fucking sick. Pardon my French, but that it is dope. And there's not a lot of people, in this group right now, there's a lot of minds that are very high-level minds. We know what it looks like to have something high-level. The one consensus that we get everywhere we go, we're talking to people who live and breathe this stuff. I've never heard one person say anything but good things about the Grace. That's not some dum-dum or there's some personal reason, or when you're just talking about the financial protocol. But there's some big people, and yeah, they're not saying anything right now, which is the most interesting thing. I think it's just one of those things, man, where you fill before you shill, and you just fill in a way that nobody notices.
It's baffling. Even you can just tell by the copycats that get launched that just fail. That just makes me just feel even more like, yeah, we got the one. So it's like, it is the talk of the town on PulseChain. I think the outsiders of PulseChain don't want to talk about it because it's PulseChain, and they don't know whether this thing is going to flop or not. And if it flops, then they think PTGC is going to flop, so therefore they won't talk about it. But then you got the other people that are in the community that are afraid that if it flops, they're going to look like idiots because they went against the core coins and the core coins, and it flops. And it's just like, well, there we go. Like, see what I did with PDI, and I ended up flopping. I'm not trying to do that again. So it's like, it's just a bunch of people that are afraid to just man up or woman up, whatever you are. But he, she, whatever you are, with they, them, I don't care. Like, they're afraid to just, things have changed in crypto. So you just got to figure out what it is to get people talking again at the end of the day. But if everybody in PulseChain just talked about it, not actually bought, but just talked about it, like, we should have 400 or 500 people in this spaces right now. That just proves it. There's 15,000 wallet holders. We know all the top people.
16,669.
We know all the people, but we consistently get anywhere from 90 to 150 people. Think about that for a second. So
Almost 17,000 holders. We get 100 people up in here.
So if you just triple that, not the holders, just triple the amount of people that are up in here willing to talk about it, we would actually have something to talk about other than PulseChain, PTGC, Hex, and some tablets. But it's not even just PTGC. We need more projects in general to talk about. So, like, let's just even take PTGC out of it and just say, hey, like that's why I said the grant thing. I understand $25,000 is not a lot for a grant, but that's just giving you the scope of what I'm trying to tell you guys right now. Is okay. Let's make it 50,000 and go from 600 developers to 300,000. Okay, let's make it 100,000 and go from 300 to 150. That is 150 more developers. There's probably realistically real developers on this chain. There's probably like 10. Luckily, like not even 10 probably. We got one of them. We're sitting in one right now, and he got two of the top ones, UFO and PTGC. So like, so what I'm trying to say is we need to be more outspoken. And yes, what I was trying to say is the only way we're going to really grow. Yes, we need outdoor people, but we also need some indoor people within crypto too. Because just in crypto alone, if people were to hear about PTGC and it was mooning right now, just consistently going within the top 100, top 50, top 25, I guarantee you people would 1,000% ape over the PulseChain to take a part of it. We're ranked correctly on CoinGecko. Like, people will see it. So you gotta work for it. We gotta find a way to get into these guys and have them talk. Wait till you hear what's coming up soon. Ooh wee! It's gonna get people talking.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
It's gonna get people talking. And we don't need to be top 25. All we need is a nice little 1.5x. 50% increase.
Electronics, did you have something you wanted to add or a question?
Hey, yes, sir. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect. Yeah, so I just want to mention something really quick before I get back to business here. I just wanted to mention the biggest reason why people, in my experience, the holders, I should say, don't show it or as much. From my experience, talking to the whales, small fish, doesn't matter. Most people that I've been talking to, they want, and I'm not saying this is not what's happening. It's just that's what they're seeing. I don't know if they're just not, following up with anything. But the people that I talk to, they want a clear and bullish roadmap on how to get past the all-time high that was like going sideways and then bam, went down. And so they're like, hey, it's not worth my time to chill if I just get like a 2x or whatever, right? So like they want to know, hey, how do we know we're gonna get a 5x 10x from here? Like that's a lot of people just don't really believe in it, because especially now at cores, right, everything is down, the cores are down that are tied to PTGC, right? And so they're like, hey, okay, so how else are you gonna get this to go up if everything is just going down? So like people need to remember, they need to be reminded that it's a long-term thing.
Well, what coins are they in? That would be my first question. So
well,
what are you in?
A lot of people. I have some of this too, but a lot of things. But a lot of people they're just holding the cores, right? A lot of people don't trade, and so they're like, it's just going down. When is everything gonna go up? So a lot of people just don't trade. That's one of the big problems. So they're just holding cores, and they're like, I'm just gonna ride this ship down to zero. You know what I mean? So
But how well is that done for them though? Like that's what I'm saying. It's like when you look at the chain for what it is, I want to know, why is that person in crypto? What do they want? If they want to make money, I would say, well, this thing hasn't been in a monthly uptrend. Like the tokens a year in hasn't been in a monthly uptrend in 2.5 years. So like, if you're worried about making a 2 to 3x here, I haven't seen a 2 or 3x in like
everything but the cores are doing
bottom.
the 2 to 5x.
Yeah.
Everything but the cores. Yeah, that's the thing. So people, a lot of people just are waiting for Richard to pump their bags.
And so they're like, hey, when is he going to pump the cores? And they're not actually doing anything to help the chain move forward. Like, bro, guys, we need to be active. Like, you guys see how we're rating comments and all this stuff. We're trying to get on spaces. We're trying to get some attention, you know. But a lot of people are just sitting there on the hands, like, when is Richard going to come? And so that's fundamentally like something that needs to be break.
So here's the thing, right? The Grays went to a $350 million market cap. It's sitting at a $50 million market cap. Started at under $100,000 market cap. Since the launch of PulseChain has only gone up to SAC rate like 1 or 2 times. So this protocol has already proven multiple times that it can, and it's already sustaining hundreds of X over the launch price of the protocol, regardless of what the underlying core assets are doing. Would you rather be in the thing that can massively go up against and has amazing mechanics and tokenomics and APY and not your keys, not your coins, and deflationary and generating millions of dollars of revenue currently right now in the shitty environment that we're in right now, generating $3 to $4 to $5 million a year with no overhead in the protocol? Or would you rather be sitting in your freaking cores knowing that when the cores go, this asset is proven to do a 40x when the cores do a 5x? When did you buy the better, more proven asset?
Then that's the thing. A reminder is important. Yeah, people just need to be reminded. We're just in our feelings. So everyone's like, everything is down. Yes, like I said, it's cheap. Now's the time to buy. Correct. But
and anybody can say that type of shit, man. But we've got over 24 months of real data, and the smartest people we know in the space looking at it, and it's undeniable what it does when the cores go up. I mean, the system right now is generating literally like $4 million a year in revenue with no overhead, with PulseChain dead.
Yeah, that's good.
At a $50 million market cap. Yeah, so these people that, and the other thing is, though,
real quick, man, though, it's actually like 9 million if you consider both PTGC and UFO under the
That's
same
true.
list.
That's true.
Yeah. And real quick, because I understand is what he was making a point on is like there's people that are like, hey, why would I work towards this bag if I think that it could only do like a 2x or whatever? And I wanted to just bring up that it's actually a lot more than a 2x and a lot easier than people realize. An easy example is there was a project that launched on PulseChain, I think, like a few months ago that the contract had a bug and it got like, I think like a few $1 million just stuck in the contract. And I don't recall the name or anything, just money lost. And the reason why so much money got stuck in there's like a referral system. So a lot of people are actually talking about it for the few days. And PTGC has been a proven system. Code's been running flawlessly for 2 years. If just $5 million came into PTGC at this level, we would do a 10x over PulseChain. And then in your example of, you know, most people are just waiting for Richard. Well, what are they waiting for Richard to do for them? Are they waiting for this network to just do a 10x? Well, if that came after we did this, if 5 million came in, we did a 10x, and then Richard, let's say, pushed his chain 10x, or, you know, just the market, or a Godwill comes in and pushes his chain 10x. The PTGC people who took action today would be up 100x. And that's just $5 million coming in at these low levels, and then PulseChain just being remotely successful, if you even want to call a 10x from here successful. Like 100x isn't a 2x. Like you can take action on PTGC today and do 100x very, very easily, you know, with community effort involved in onboarding. And like I said, 5 million is a lot, but not a lot in crypto. We just saw a protocol launch with no proven track record or anything a few months ago. 5 million or some million got sacrificed for it or put into the contract. All the value just got stuck. So we know the value is here. It's just we have to work and, you know, and put in some effort to get that value into a specific project. And it's a lot more than a 2x. And at that point, at that point, real quick, if we get PTGC, that 10x, and then PulseChain does another 10x, it's not so much about the x's. You would be up 100x, But now we have a protocol on PulseChain that's generating probably hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. Great mascot, great meme, and it's a Trojan horse to the rest of cryptocurrency. And it's actually a system design that actually helps pump PulseChain. PTGC and UFO could very easily be in the top 25, top 50 of all cryptos at that point. And it's actually not hard. It just has to
100%.
take the community to get behind a specific asset instead of what I've seen from the last 2 years is like people are like, wow, that idea is like one of the best ideas I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to just try to mimic it instead of just getting behind the idea that actually started the whole thing.
So the problem, I think I figured it out based even what you just said right there. So there's people willing to swap and go into things, but and even if there's a copycat coming, they're willing to swap and go in and take the chance. And I think the reality of it is they are feeling like they missed the boat. I think at the end of the day, they felt like they missed the boat and they're not in early enough. Now, when I look at the crypto space as a whole, I can see that literally playing through because people think a $1 million market cap is absolutely high. People also think a $50 million market is absolutely high. And we're at a freaking $4 trillion, $3 trillion market cap, and we're literally saying $50 billion in a $4 trillion market cap industry is high. It is a joke. So at the end of the day, we need to figure out a way to change people's minds that $50 million market cap is nothing, and the potential of it, and the fact that they are still early. I think if you handle that main set, you actually can answer many people's questions, but we got to do it. We got to dumb it down so bad because some of the stupidest people have money on this chain.
Yeah, well, that's the example I was just providing is with $5 million coming into PTGC today, someone that gets in today, we bring in $5 million. Literally, one of our community members, landscaper, just got in yesterday. You know, if you get in today and we bring in $5 million bet, we're up 10x. And if PulseChain just does another 10x, you're now part of one of the top 25 cryptos in all of cryptocurrency. You just did 100x. Is that late?
But how do you explain that to them in the most dumb reason? When I say I think this community is so smart, but at the same time I'll say this community is absolutely retarded in the same sentence. Like that's a fact. So
Yeah,
how do we relate that to them in the most dumb way possible so they can?
Well, in the legacy markets, a nano cap is 50 million or less. A micro cap is 50 million to 300 million, and a small cap is 300 million to 2 billion.
Well, last cycle I would say a 50 million was a medium cap. This cycle it's a small cap based on the increase. So we're officially a small cap. If you're under $50 billion market cap, I'll call you a micro cap. Yeah, I'll call you a micro cap.
Yep.
But just in our space alone, we're not a medium cap. Like the market has increased over $2 trillion. Like you can't continue saying it's a medium cap. Like it's not a lot. And that's the thing. I think we got a lot of these, sorry if you're in this group of people, but you hear me joke about all the time. These 2021 guys that came in just automatically assume that, I can't get in that $1 million market cap, man. I missed the boat. It's too high. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it wasn't even high back in 2021. Like, why all of a sudden in 2025, $1 million market cap is absolutely high? That's crazy. When I hear people speak like that. So it's like that's part of the issue is the mindset of people that think, oh, yeah, it's too high. Yeah, I can't get in there. Like, dude, ask the subscribers. I've $20 million market cap coins right off the bat and threw in 5-6 figures. Like, absolutely. I do it all the time. If it's got the right narrative and everything's flying, 1,000% I'll get it. But it's got to be the right thing. So how do you dumb it down for them to say the exact same thing?
And I think it's worth bringing up. doing X's in a larger market cap token that actually has liquidity, if you do those X's in that asset over a brand new small micro cap, $1 million token, most of the time there's not even enough liquidity in those tokens for you to even get any of your value.
True.
And at least when you do it in systems of this size, if we do this 100X, like I just kind of explained, is actually very easy. There's actually enough liquidity for you to realize your gains if you choose to. Or you could just hold that $1 million asset and just get paid passively via the yield. It's up to you. But most other assets, you don't even have that option. Because if you start selling how much you have, you're just going to take the whole thing.
That's actually an excellent point. Hey, thanks for letting me up, guys. All right, I'll see you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Yeah, I just looked up right now based off 4 trillion. The grays is 0.0013% of the total crypto market cap. 0.0013% at a $52 million market cap.
I'm letting you know within the next 2 weeks, if something like PTGC were to 2x, I'm telling you, the whole crypto world's going to know about it. No longer top 25, they're going to know about it. If it 2x's, the whole crypto world's going to know about it. So we need to push for
it. Dom, I saw you had your hand raised and then you put it down. Did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Just a quick one. I don't know if it's because of spaces or if it's just a coincidence, but people are buying roughly 5K in 30 minutes. So I don't know if it's from here or something, but just to talk about the outreach and stuff. So I believe spaces is a good thing. I've been joining spaces outside of PulseChain community and Hex community a lot. And I started to get followers and talks from other communities. So I believe that thing works.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that, these spaces are outreaching. It looks like you're brand new. So you somehow, or maybe not brand new, but the first time you've came up, I don't recognize your PFP or anything. So it's obviously somehow outreach to you, and I'm super glad to have you in here and glad to see new people popping in and adding comments and questions. Gary obviously made some great pointers to us that I think we need to take action on, is just filling the billboard or whatever we call it up at the top with how to buy PTGC with a quick 3-minute video is probably helpful, since we're obviously talking about way more in-depth strategy on these spaces. But yeah, I agree. And it's good to see buys come in as we're doing these, because it kind of gives reward just to the efforts that we're all putting forward right in front of us, which is cool.
Yeah, we've been on for about 3 hours and we have 3 hourly green candles on PTGC. Does anyone else care to come up and chat? What's going on, guys? Or is it time to shut it down?
I think we hit a lot of good conversations today on just strategies moving forward, how our community can get involved, how much of our own success is actually in our hands, and our success, our assets, our community can do a lot just on our own. And let's put that power back in our hands, and let's do some X's over PulseChain before PulseChain starts to move. Doing X's right now is so much easier than doing them after PulseChain moves. Like I said, if we bring in $5 million right now as a community, that's 1,000 people bringing in $5 million each. That's a 10x against PulseChain. That's PTGC far past all-time highs. That's ratio against PLS at 50-1. And guess what? If we did that after PulseChain moved a little bit, $5 million would not do a 10x for PTGC. It would do a lot less X's. So via PulseChain being down, via us down, it makes it that much easier for us to do X's. So let's take action on this opportunity that we have right at this moment. Might as well get all the X's done before PulseChain moves instead of after. You know, if our goal is a 10X over PulseChain, it's only $5 million to do that right now. If PulseChain starts to move, it could cost us 20 million, 30 million, 50 million. So it just makes a lot of sense right now for us to do it. Also, it's the best time to onboard people. Why onboard people after we do a 5, 10X when you can do it before? So, you know, we were talking about that earlier, bringing them in at these low levels of PulseChain, these low levels of PTGC. If you were going to onboard someone, right now is the time to do it.
I agree. I agree, Zen. Now's a great time to bring people in.
And yeah, I'll think about that, B-Roots. You know, what's an easier way to explain how early we are to a normal person who thinks, you know, where we're at is late? I 100% agree. I've been hearing it for, you know, the last 2 years. I heard it at a 1 million market cap that price is too high, and that's the topic.
The key thing I hear, and I know what it is, they think that a B-Roots quote-unquote massive bag is going to dump on you. I think the best thing to do is to get it out there that this is the math behind a whale selling. And if it's nothing but facts, that's where that mentality will disappear. I would do a super high calculated factual analysis of the top 25 wallets. How many have sold, how much they've sold, if they were to sell, what it could do to the price. And I think what's going to happen is people going to realize that a lot of people haven't sold when they could have sold when they've had millions of dollars. And then at the same time, if they were to sell if they were to sell back when it gets back above there, but it would actually do the price, if anything, because of liquidity. So I think when you literally give people's fears and back it with facts, I think that is the answer of, oh, it's too early, or they have, that's it. People make excuses for why they won't get in. When in reality, I've heard people say, oh, UFO is a lower market cap, so that's why I'm getting in. That you should do UFO because it's a lower market cap. And you're just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. That just explains you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. It's literally a difference of a 3x? So you're bullish, massively bullish on UFO, but not bullish on PTGC. So you're hating on PTGC because of this. So, or you'll hear them talk about, oh, well, it's tax token. It's tax token, but I'll get in the UFO. It's like, there's something there. And I think it's because you aren't a top holder, or you think that these top holders are going to dump on you. So I think if you give them what they want to hear, but it actually is in a way that you're wrong in which you say, I think that will combat a lot of things.
Yeah, no, we can definitely dig into that and look at each wallet and see how they've been behaving. You know, I think I kind of know how they've been behaving because it's 2.5 years later, and if they're still up there, they're most likely not selling.
Yeah, but they don't,
Yeah.
they don't see that. They just put these things in their head on the why.
That's one thing I find interesting about PTGC, though, is a lot of people are worried about how whales are going to act as price goes up, and they're willing to be in protocols where they don't even know how the whales will act after a 5x or a 10x. But then you have PTGC where the whales or big players have experienced 10s, 20s, hundreds of X's, and they just don't budge because they actually believe in the system for what it's intended to be.
I think it's important, Ted, for people to understand what that means. You know, that means when we say 5, 10, 12, that means you're sitting on $10 million. You're sitting on $5 million. You're sitting on millions of dollars worth of the token.
Yeah, these wallets didn't budge. They've seen gains, they've seen X's, and they're obviously not in the protocol for X's. They're in it for X's to their portfolio that equals X's to their passive income, right? And that's not everyone. Obviously, we've seen in the last 2 years us go from, I think, 50 whale positions to 15 whale positions. So there has been whales that have shrunken their portfolios by taking profits, but we've seen firsthand that hasn't stopped much because there's a machine that's constantly buying these people out of these positions every single day that goes forward. And there's also a line of new investors that kind of want these positions as well. There's only 300 and 30 dolphin positions even on the market for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean,
but I do
individuals know what they have.
Yeah, it's 2 years over, and that's the difference, I think, with a brand new protocol, that none of these people have actually been tested with any of the things that matter. Price appreciation usually tests people. Price dips usually test people. More than people realize. They think a lot of the testing is price appreciation. They don't realize that one of the biggest tests to large community holders is actually price dips. PTGC has went through 85% dips. These people don't budge. It's gone through 4 50x moves. These people don't budge. And then also time. Some people have a timeline that makes them move. And a lot of projects that launch, they've only been in them for 2 weeks. Well, let's see how they act in 4 months, 6 months. In the PTGC system, these guys haven't budged for 2 years, 2.2 years, which is kind of impressive in the PulseChain atmosphere. You know what I mean? It's a unique atmosphere that's kind of quiet and sometimes a little boring, where volume's kind of flowing down, people are leaving the chain. And there obviously is people leaving. Me saying this doesn't mean that whales aren't selling or sharks aren't selling, but I'm just saying they have been selling, and look what the protocol's still been able to do, absorbing that. It's obviously one of the best protocols on chain, so I think we could say it's done very well, even with people selling. Shoot, Tom.
What's good?
Sorry.
What's up?
Yeah, man, I just saw that it was 5K came in now again. No, 7K.
Hey guys.
So people are buying, but I mean, for the new guys, I came in middle last year, so I bought that 80%.
Whoa.
And from this price level now, prices at support, and it's 7x, roughly 6x top to all-time high. So, and this token is deflationary. So, I mean, it's not a bad protocol. I treat PTGC like the blue chips on PulseChain.
Yep.
King, you got something?
Yeah, it's something like this. I'm more than 3 years in PulseChain. I missed the how we say the drop, or the how to say, you get the PulseChain before, you know what I mean?
The airdrop at the fork you're talking about.
Yeah. Launch pool. Yeah, launch pool was all the time this. I think this was a nice snack. The problem is, I don't know what Richie doing. This is one of the problem. So it's running very well. It's a nice bridge from the best, like Ethereum, and we can handle this. Yeah, but the captain is in the moment, we don't know what the captain do, while the captain doing this, what the captain do. Yeah. This is be a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't know what the creator do, like the captain. Yeah, We don't know.
Yeah, I
King, that's why
completely
it's
get
called
it.
a speculation.
This is here we are. This is about PulseChain. Yeah, we sitting here. We have great currency. I mean, it's going to the moon. I mean, he will start soon with the blue. You know what I mean? The aliens will be coming. You know what I mean? He planning something. You know, that's why it's not bad to have some aliens. So he planning something. Yeah. So normally the bridge, no captain, is a good idea. Where we go on, you know. So little bit philosophy. Yeah. I'm from German and I'm now in Bali and I'm sitting here 5 years and I try to understand what's going on here. So you can keep going. Moon King, of course, all the big player. Keep going. Keep going. We have something, but nobody understand. Nobody understand, but we have the technology, and I heard he cannot stop this. PulseChain, you cannot stop. It doesn't matter, is the captain there or not. It doesn't matter. I'm out, guys. You can go out.
Awesome. Thanks, King.
Yeah, you know what I mean. No captain, but nice. Yeah. It's running. It's a spaceship or what? Where we are, you know what I mean. It's a planet. It's flat. You know, we don't know. I'm out. Thank you for many years. I never talk, but I'm here and all the specials. Really, all. I see this in the Discord and all is there. You know, I'm out. Keep going.
Take care. Thanks, King.
I'm fine. We just starting. I'm out.
All right. Take care, King. All right, Greg, got it? You got anything else then?
No, I'm all good. I think just to chime in, I completely understand. I look at, Richard as being the captain of this team, but just because he's on the bench doesn't mean we can't still win the game. And I think PTGC, as far as its code, its community, we have everything that we need to win with or without the help of the blockchain. Obviously, the help of the blockchain would be greatly appreciated, but we still have everything we need right here. Very easy to win with a system like this. The deflation, the built-in APY, the community. I think it just needs a little bit of help from the community at this point. And right now is the best time to help. Prices are at low support levels, and let's work on getting ourselves to the next level before PulseChain, I think, comes in to help us. Everything we can do right now would be massively multiplied in the future by getting it done now, not procrastinating.
Yeah, I also want to say, Graze is sitting where it's at and has not deployed any revenue in months, right? So
correct.
You gotta understand what you're seeing right now is 100% the market. Very important to understand with a protocol like this. The market on PulseChain is valuing this protocol currently right now. The natural market valuation at a $54 million market cap. With the protocol itself, at 2x of here, or just over 2x, is sitting on $1 million of treasury in PulseChain. It's like people. If you stop and you look at what's happening with a blip on the PulseChain radar, anybody who doesn't appreciate the value of these tokens right now Go ahead and sell for the next carat. Go ahead and sell for the next PTGC. Go ahead and sell for whatever the hell you're going to sell for. But it's very important to note 53, 54 million market cap, 100% the market. No propping up price, no buying and burning, no adding LP, just stacking.
Hey guys.
I mean, how long
we have one problem about the bridge. Yeah, how we get the customer in? You know what I mean?
Okay.
We have. This is only. I ask for the simple way to get the bridge. When somebody can manage this, will be nice, and we will find out. I'm out.
I mean, we have Liberty Swap.
I mean, there's so many different swaps. There's so many ways to get on chain. There's so many aggregators. There's Liberty. There's, if you want to use that, there's the bridges. There's the aggregator swaps. There's Switch.win. There's Change Now. There's literally 50,000 easy ways to get on chain.
Yeah, and most likely when it gets even easier, prices will be a lot higher. So take advantage that it is difficult to get in if you want to say that, because that usually means prices are lower than they'll be in the future. When it was the most difficult time to get Ethereum, it was the best time to get in. When it was the most difficult time to get Bitcoin, it was the best time to get in. I personally think this is a very similar example. We just are lucky enough to know about it before the rest of the world. Okay, guys, we've been going for 3.5 hours. Sorry to cut people off, but I got to get going.
Yeah. Awesome conversation today.
Guys, I can speaking out and was nice. I come in the end, but thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
I have something to say about the complete project. You know,
we're shutting it down.
We must landing the UFO.
Thanks for jumping up. Thank you everybody for being here.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are still here, of course. Look at those candles, guys. Those are beautiful. I'm tweeting about it right now. So a little distracted. Yeah. You're welcome, Polygon. Jonty, thanks for jumping in. I don't know that I've seen you before. Guys, if you're not in my Telegram, you are all welcome to join. I'm popping a link in right now. Hold on to your, fasten your seatbelts, guys, for what's coming. We are building, you heard it, we are building an incentive program, and all of you guys are going to be invited, and it's going to be good. Jump into the Telegram. You will find out more about the incentive program as I hear about it and I'm able to talk about it. If you're new, jump into my stream tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific. Harry Williams, UFO all day. Sure, man. Thanks for the comment about Pulse swap. Safe swap. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Have a good day, man. Go out and touch some grass. And we'll see you. We're having spaces again on Monday. So have a good weekend, guys. Adios.